Happy birthday to me. I already lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Anyways, the important thing, Q&A. I asked you guys to submit questions for me to answer, and you really followed through on it. You really did. Um, I forget how many. I think I had a couple hundred. Uh, what would it be called? Submissions of. I mean, I was gonna say questions, but no, it'd be submissions because not all of it was questions. A lot of it was very much not questions. There were a few happy birthdays in there, but so thank you to those of you who just said happy birthday. But I appreciate the sentiment, but please learn how to follow directions better. I love you all, but still. Anyways, I lost a lot of sleep getting. Oh, excuse me. I lost a lot of sleep getting these questions sorted out, so let's get started on them. And so I don't know when, but sometime at least one friend said that they would be showing up to hang out for part of this. I keep losing track of where I put stuff. I'm a mess. I have not streamed in a long time. Anyways, I should have something set up here. Text. Here we go. Okay, so I think. Oh, I can just enter it here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you guys can see the questions as I'm going through them. So that first one is, how did you come up with your VTuber name? So honestly, I didn't really come up with it so much as it was like bestowed upon me, I guess. I can't remember by whom, but it was actually years ago. Uh, okay, so like for a while before that, I was going by I was just going by Red Foreman, like the character from that '70s show, because I sympathize with him a lot. Anyways, at some point along the way, someone referred to me as an angry badger, and that kind of stuck. So I've just been going with that. And the way I spell it the way I do is because someone else like buggered it up at some point, and so I decided to just roll with that. It turns out badger is an actual word in the real world. It's not just some garbage I made up. Well, someone else made up. You know what I mean? Anyways, so Badger is. I know it's the name of like several towns in like the Middle East and such. Apparently, it's also a Dalmatian word, meaning what was it again? I think it means to shout or bark, which fitting for me. Should be able to just yeah. There we go. What's your favorite strategy game? I'm off the top of my head. I'm gonna say Stellaris. Like I play a lot of strategy games, but I'd say Stellaris is one of the best ones out there. I've liked Crusader I actually now that I think about it, sorry, I need some more water, man. Yeah, strategy games. So let me just pull up my Steam account quick because I know I was looking at this before, and I think by time I think the game I've played the most is actually Mountain Blade Warband. Uh, yeah, so I have 1,790 hours in Mountain Blade Warband. So I guess if we were using time as the metric, that would be my favorite game. For some reason, Hearts of Iron 4 is behind that. I don't think it says I played 915 hours of that. I don't remember playing that much of it, but apparently I did. And then Stellaris is behind that at 786. So yeah, it would be accurate for me to say it would be somewhat almost kind of accurate for me to say that Stellaris is my favorite strategy game. Okay. How did you get started as a VTuber? I honest if this is asking about okay, I'm trying to think how to open with this one because like if the question is like what was my first video, that was like I think 2022, early 2022 was a Deep Rock Galactic video, and that was like with my prototype model. Okay, that was with the cancer patient model. If the question is like why did I decide to start VTubing, um, honestly, like I was getting into YouTube. So okay, so I've actually been doing YouTube stuff since like I want to say 2014, 2015, but around 2020 or so, I was looking at my YouTube channel and I didn't really like how it was going. So it just cleared out everything that I ever made, just deleted all of it, destroyed it. Um, excuse me. Yeah, I got rid of all my old stuff and I rebranded as a VTuber because, I mean, I'll be upfront. I like VTubers, but also this is kind of like just a. I can't really put words to it, but it's basically I can. The best way I can put it is that I can be the character instead of the person. I don't really think. I feel like that's not a good way to say it, but that's the best way I can think to say it. Next question. If you could have any superpower for your birthday, what would it be? Okay, my first thing I'm thinking is this question asking is my birthday the time limit? Like from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, that's when I have the power? Or is it I I get the power starting now and I have it forever? Because if I picked like agelessness and it only lasted for the day of my birthday, then that would be kind of a wasted power. When I think about it, like I think teleportation would be honestly the power I would want because most of my problems in life are just I can't get around to certain places as easily as I would like to. I would like to go visit my mom more often, but I can't because we live several hours apart from each other. So, like, if I could teleport, just instantaneously move from one place to another, that would make my life a lot more convenient. So I think that's the power I would go with. And even if it is just for my birthday, I would still pick it just so I could like run around, meet some friends for the day. What's your most memorable life experience? Most memorable life I can't. Okay, so funny thing, I don't remember my most memorable life experience. Like I have memory issues. If if you've been following me for any time at all, you know I have memory and concentration issues. So I can't really say what my most memorable experience is. I'm gonna say off the. I'm wondering if this is one I should talk about. All right, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it. So, okay, so like my grandfather, I spent a long time hanging out with my grandparents when I was a kid. My grandfather, he liked talking to me about planes and stuff because I was a little kid. I liked planes, and particularly he would talk to me about World War II era bombers. Now I knew that he had been a pilot during World War II, but and so the conclusion I came to was that he flew bombers because he liked to talk about them so much. My grandfather passed away a few years ago, and at his funeral, I this was the first time I saw pictures of him with the plane he flew, and he didn't fly a bomber, he flew fighter planes. And I already fucked up the story because I forgot the point that I was trying to discuss. And the thing he told me when he was alive about bombers is he would tell me that the bombers are lucky because they don't see the people they're killing. And the fighters, they can see into the canopies of the other like pilots that they're shooting at, so they see the people that they're shooting. And it was only after he died and it was at his funeral that I learned that he was a fighter pilot, and that's I guess that's memorable at least. Like I can't really think of another way to describe that. It was kind of a I can't think of the word for it. It was a moment of shock for me. I guess it was like I always had this uh, preconception about him, and then it turns out, oh, he was carrying a lot of weight. He was haunted by the things he did during the war. Anyways, that was a heavy one. Can you describe yourself in 3 words? I don't need three. I two will do the trick. Angry Badger. That does it. That's everything you need to know about me, really. Um, I can't think of a third word for describing me. What boss battle got you angriest in a game? I can't remember the. I'm gonna. I can't really think of anything offhand except maybe when I played what was it called again? Project Wingman. Project Wingman. The last boss battle for that was just obnoxious. I wouldn't say I. Well, no, actually, if I'm remembering if I'm remembering what happened, I guess I did get pretty angry. I got angry about like the some of the boss battles, but the last one was really just obnoxious. Oh, what a fitting background for talking about me being angry. Uh, it was obnoxious because it was just that guy in that super fast jet that fires all those flares that turn into railguns. That was just annoying. And I remember like that whole boss fight was just me banking as hard as my, because I went into that with the close air support jet. Okay, I was flying that little 60s Soviet era refrigerator with jet engines on it. Because like I thought it was gonna be a ground combat mission, and then it was the final boss of the game. So I was just banking as hard as that thing possibly could, going really slow. I don't get why Prez still lost consciousness with that, because like that was the slowest plane in the game with the widest turning radius, and apparently she still passed out from the G-forces somehow. But yeah, anyways, all that and that whole fight was me banking as hard as I could, and then firing in the few moments that I could actually see the guy. That was an annoying boss fight. Do you play board games too? Okay, I could do the jerk thing and just say yes and move on, but I'll actually expand upon this answer. So I played board games since I was a kid. I was gonna say obviously, but now that I think about it, there's probably a generation of kids growing up now that don't play board games, unless it's like the retro bait garbage, whatever. Anyways, I played Tabletop Simulator before with friends, and that's something I want to do again, but no one ever has time for it, really. So that's, kind of disappointing. Not really board games, but I also play a lot of, like, tabletop role-playing games. I really like those. I'm a big fan. Well, I say play, I'm usually game mastering, because I just have the curse of the forever GM. So, if you were to pick a different theme for your VTuber persona, what would it be? I actually remember talking about this, actually, I talked about this on 2 different occasions in, like, the past week or so. First time, I was talking about how, like, okay, so when I was a kid, I was really into bats, alright? I was obsessed with them. I adored bats. I thought they were really cool and adorable and everything. And that eventually kind of, like, waned away. I still like bats, it's just that they're not my personality now. But I was wondering, like, what would I have been like if if that obsession had, like, continued on? Like, what would my VTuber persona have been if I still liked bats that much? Like, if I had chosen to somehow make a bat-themed persona. Which, I mean, wait, I wonder if it'd even be very different. Like, I've already got the sunglasses and stuff. I guess I would have bigger ears, maybe. Well, actually, no, a lot of bats are pretty... I'm trying to remember, like, certain bats. I used to know a lot of the species, but now the only one that comes to my mind is the flying fox or the fruit bat. And that little goblin bat, the freaky little thing. Um, they're not coming to me. Whatever. I wonder if I would be upside down. I wonder if that would be like the gimmick, is just having the model be. Actually, I wonder if I can I do that with my model right now? Let me try something quick. Does this have a flip around? Oh yeah, it does. Okay. Okay, guys, Bat VTuber time. Oh god, this is actually a little bit disorienting. Oh boy. Should I leave it on like this for a while, or I'll return to normal mode. I'll return to normal mode. Give me a second. It's a why did oh god, why did the control get moved so far? Oh, okay, there it is. The control for flipping got moved a lot. I don't know why. If you could design a video game set in Wisconsin, what would it be like? So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Wisconsin boy. I've actually thought of this before. Like, I've always wanted a Fallout game set in Wisconsin. I actually tried once upon a time to force my friends to play a Fallout tabletop game in Wisconsin. It didn't work out well. And one of the problems is that Wisconsin is a lot of just empty space. All right, it's most of it's wilderness. I'll be honest with you. we got some landmarks and stuff, but honestly, our most interesting thing is a set of water parks, and that's oh, I mean, and me. I mean, you can't say I'm not the most interesting thing about Wisconsin. But yeah, like a Fallout game in Wisconsin, that would be pretty neat. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else to do with it. I can't think of anything else to do with Wisconsin except bomb it with nuclear weapons. If you could hang out with a character from an anime, who would it be? I I don't think I'm trying to remember the last anime I even watched. I think it was the Jujutsu Kaisen movie. No, I cannot think of any anime characters I would want to hang out with. Like I feel like I would have a terrible time with almost any anime character. Like I'm the side character guy, okay? Like I'm the I'm the one-off side character who gets brought in and is like, "Oh, this is my second cousin." And then I just get hyper murdered by the bad guy of the week to show, "Oh man, this guy's so evil. He killed main character's second cousin." Okay, so I don't want to be hanging out with any anime characters. Ironic, considering I'm a V2. I am an anime character, essentially. I just don't have an actual show associated with me. Someone change that, please. Anyways. Come on. There we go. What games did you play in your childhood? I can't remember. I base it, so like I was talking about my memory issues earlier, that kind of extends to I can't remember most of my childhood except in like blotches. Actually, no, now that I think about it, so like I did have a GameCube when I was a kid, and I did like playing that. I liked let's see, I played a Spyro game. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a Spyro game on GameCube. I played Simpsons Hit and Run a lot. I played Shadow the Hedgehog. I have I have like a Sonic Super Collection disc for GameCube. I should play it again or figure out some way to play it again. But like that was a cool thing just because it wasn't just like a collection of the games. It was also a collection of other media like the like extent like game trailers. What was it? Comics. I can't remember everything that was on it. Yeah, I was a Sonic fanboy once upon a time. I too was 12 once. Oh, I'm oh, okay. I'll be upfront. I still like some Sonic stuff. Like I'm hyped for the next Sonic movie because it's going to be bringing back Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, I'll admit it. What inspired you to become a VTuber? I feel like that's some of a repeat of the earlier question. Oh, actually, no. This is what I don't think I properly answered the earlier question either. Now that I think about it, but what I can't really say what inspired me. It was like I just liked other VTubers and I like the idea of having this persona. I mean, I do enjoy working on this like model you see before you. There's not really a whole lot else to it. Um, if this is asking about like the circumstances resulting in me becoming a VTuber, um, basically I'm unemployable, and yeah, that's it. It was it was this or be homeless. Okay, that might be I was gonna say as a slight exaggeration, but let's move on to another question. If you could travel to any time period, when and where would you go? Insert stereotypical weeb. Oh, I want to go to feudal Japan. I would not want to go to feudal Japan. Fuck that noise. That sounds like a terrible idea. Not even medieval. Like okay, so like I don't know what this question is asking quite. Okay, is like do I get to come back afterwards, or is this a one-way trip? Because if it's just like if it's just like a 20-minute adventure, I might want to go back to like medieval Europe or Victorian era Europe or something. Actually, if I combine that with the teleportation power, and I'll just like go back, explore the medieval and Victorian era worlds, and then come back. But if this is a one-way trip, I don't want to go. Okay, like, I have a lot of health problems that are already bad enough with modern medicine. I'm not gonna survive, uh, the Dark Ages. Or I'm not gonna survive the age of, oh, well, um, I'm trying to think of an example. Basically, Crusader Kings style medicine, like, oh, what, your knees hurt? Okay, we're gonna drill a hole in your skull. Yeah, I'm not up for that. I I hate this timeline we're in, but I don't want to go to the past. Okay, it's even worse back there. What's your strategy for staying focused while gaming? That's I don't have a strategy. I don't. Wait, what? I'm okay. I feel like I'm missing something with this question. What's your strategy for? I don't know. Like, I'm just it's just a game. Like, I don't think I stay focused anyways. Like, am I focused? I don't know. Maybe it's something like people watching me notice or something. I don't know. But, like, I don't feel like I'm a very focused gamer. Like, I get distracted constantly, and I constantly forget what I'm doing. I have no strategy. I'm sorry. Whoever asked this, you are shit out of luck. I have nothing to help you with. Oh, my back hurts. I have lumbago. If you could create your own video game, what genre would it be, and what would be the plot? I actually, excuse me. Okay, so, like, first off, with, like, okay, I'm trying to think where to start with this. Okay, so years ago, a friend of mine and I, we actually wanted to make a video game, but we were much too ambitious with it. Like, we were really aiming way outside of our abilities for, like, what we could do to make a game, particularly a video game. And ultimately, like, what we want, like, basically, Baldur's Gate came out recently. It basically does everything that we were thinking of for a game. It's just a different setting is ultimately what it is. Like, we had our own idea, but that didn't matter. Oh, well. And I do end up being a game master for tabletop games a lot, and that's basically the same thing as making games, particularly when I am homebrewing some of these game systems, because I've done that a couple times. It doesn't work. Oh, excuse me. It doesn't work out very well all the time. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned since you became a VTuber? YouTube sucks, and so is Twitch and Twitter. Basically, every platform that you need for being a VTuber just is hostile to your existence. I'm sorry. Like, that's just like that's not even just a VTuber thing, all right? That's just being small content creator that didn't that like it is entirely luck, okay? Like, everyone you see who's big now, it's luck. It's completely luck. Like, it's luck and persistence, but persistence without luck just gets you nowhere. I will also say luck without persistence also gets you nowhere. So you need both of those things, all right? If you're lacking either of these two things, you won't get anywhere. If you could be a character in a fantasy world, which would you pick and why? Definitely not Warhammer. Fantasy or 40k. I don't want to be in either of those hellholes. Actually, of the two, I would say that 40k is potentially the worst. Well, I was gonna say 40k is potentially the worst hellhole of the two, but Warhammer Fantasy has reached end times. It's just like canonical apocalypse, end of the world. Everything's going down the shitter now. So I guess they're both terrible settings to exist in. Fantasy. I can't think of a fantasy world I would want to live in, which is kind of an odd thing because I hate the world I do live in. But I can't think of any other that I would prefer. I can't even say I would want to live in Starfield. That actually reminds me, a friend of mine got me Starfield. He got me the premium edition for my birthday. Like, that's a big thing. That's $100. And it's right down the shitter because my computer can't run it. So I haven't gotten to play Starfield yet, which irks me. But yeah, I can't say that I would prefer living in the Starfield setting either. Because, like, the game is that, oh, you get to be the spaceman who runs around all over the place, but no, I wouldn't end up in that circumstance. I would be one of the disabled hobos who's starving to death in the slums of whatever hellhole world that setting has, because that's just how my luck is. Anyway, okay, I'm getting a little too dark with some of this stuff. I need to lighten up, please. Okay, and we're not gonna have a chance for that. Because the next question is, if you could talk to your past self, what would you tell yourself? Buy into Bitcoin before the crash. Like, buy the shit coins. Like, that's basically what I would do. Is I basically like log every change in the Bitcoin market, go back to my past self, and just hand over the documents. And it's like, okay, like this is what you have to buy into. I know you're only like 8 years old right now, but you're gonna have to figure out how to use a computer and how to trade in shitcoin. All right, that's what I would tell my past self. But yeah, if I can actually go, how far back in time? I can't even remember. Like, okay, weird statement. I can't remember my first memory, so I don't know how far back in time to go to like fix everything that went wrong with my life. Anyways, let's get on from that. Let's get away from that. What's your favorite game strategy that you... What kind of question is this? I can't think of a single game strategy to apply to real life. Like, I... I'm not a military general, okay? I can't apply Hearts of Iron logic to real life. Alright? I have not been drafted into the Ukraine conflict. I'm drawing a blank. I guess the best thing I could say with this is, like... I think the best way to say this is you have to do everything yourself. That's the best lesson to take from games. If you hosted a gaming tournament, what game would you choose for the tournament? If this had been asked of me, like, God, how long ago? If this had been asked me back when I was playing For Honor, I would probably say For Honor. But I dropped that a long while back, and it just kept getting worse afterwards. So definitely not For Honor. Definitely not that. I guess maybe so. I would say maybe Stellaris, but that would be a very like dialogue heavy tournament because most of Stellaris is looking at charts with with pretty stars in the background. That's it. That's most of the game. It's not exactly riveting gameplay. Do you have a signature catchphrase? Do I have a signature catchphrase? I don't think I do. I guess just screaming incoherently. Um, Screaming threats at NPCs. I guess there's that, but I don't really have a catchphrase, I don't think. If you could swap character... if you could swap places with a fictional character for a day, who would it be and why? I can't think of a fictional character I would want to swap places with. Like, once again, I hate the world I live in, but I can't think of any fictional world that I would prefer living in. Like, it might just be the media I consume. I consume a lot of, like, cyberpunk dystopia stuff or, like, grimdark stuff. On my back, hold on. On my back. Yeah, no, nothing's coming to my mind. Like, nothing in particular. Like, I guess pull, like, some power fantasy isekai character. Like, hello, I'm taking your place because you just have it so easy. Like, everything's just handed to you on a silver platter. I'll be taking that now. You go enjoy being disabled in rural Wisconsin. If you could collaborate with another VTuber, who would you choose? I mean, if this is like a pick anyone, I want to say Usada Pekara, but she doesn't. I don't think she knows English at all, so that wouldn't really work out. I'm English only, okay, and I barely manage even English. There would be a bit of a language gap between us. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I like Silvervale, but I don't think I would want to collaborate with her. I don't. I feel like I would scare her off. I feel like that's what it would be, and I just don't want that happening. Um, Pipkin Pippa is she's a gremlin. She's a gremlin. We don't need any of that. I just heard a horse neigh outside my window. What was I talking about? Oh, right, yeah, V2. I've actually a friend of mine, Neo Azazel. I've been trying to bully him into a collaboration, but um, I can never we can never find a good time together. Like even today, I asked him if he wanted to show up, but he was busy today. If you could teleport to any place in the world right now, where would you go? Okay, so like right now, in the middle of my stream, I don't think I would want to teleport away from my stream. That would be a little uh that that'd be a little counterproductive. Otherwise though, like if this is like a if this is like just a teleport where you want to go token that I can just spend at some point, I guess I stated this earlier with talking about how a teleportation power would be nice. I guess I would go to my mom's. Like I don't visit her often enough. Otherwise, I can't really think of any place I'd want to go. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to go to France and Italy and Japan, and I want to see all the sights around all these places. I don't really care about any of those places. I just don't care. What's your favorite gaming soundtrack? Off the cuff, Mechanicus. Absolutely Mechanicus. Like that. I'm a big fan of the pipe organs with the weird techno music. Um, Cyberpunk 2077 also had a pretty good soundtrack. There's something else there's some other game I played that had a good soundtrack I liked. What was it? I can't think of it. I remember Metroid Prime had a good soundtrack way back in the day, but I don't, it's been a long time since I played that. I don't remember if it's held up at all. Yeah, no, I can't think of any other. Stellaris is okay. Like, Stellaris' soundtrack is serviceable, but it's not something that I, like, pick up and listen to on the way. If you were a character in a dating sim, what would your storyline be? Oh, okay. So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's asking like if I was a romanceable character in a dating sim, is what I think this is aiming for. I don't know. I don't play dating sims. I don't know how they work. Well, I mean, I think I understand the general concept behind them, but what I mean, I got I like to go like I like I like to have target shooting, so there'd probably be like some target. Yeah, no, there'd be there'd be a like a target shooting mini game as part of my romance storyline. That's it. um, Beyond that, I don't have any ideas. Like, you know what else? I'll say it up front. I don't actually like sweets that much. They actually give me a stomach ache. So that like I know some dating sims they have like a whole like find objects for the romance character. Like as gifts. Um, I don't do jewelry. I don't like sweets, and I don't drink alcohol. So that's like the three typical gifts in those games, just out the window right away. If you could challenge any VTuber to a game, which VTuber would you challenge and in which game? I feel like this comes back to the collaborate thing. Like, I don't really know anyone who I'd want to. Like, okay, so like earlier it was just collaborate, but this is challenge. This is competition. Like that I feel like I would need someone who's actually of a competitive spirit. And that's not even me. I'm not of a competitive spirit. I don't like despite my very abrasive qualities, I don't like conflict. I shy away from it. I'm scared. I can't really think of like this is kind of a like I said earlier. This is kind of a repeat of the collaborate question. So I think I would just try to bully Neo Azazel into something again. Actually, maybe Dazzy. I think okay, yes, like I've actually played what was it? The Hunter Call of the Wild, I think it was. I think I would challenge Dazzy to a hunting competition in that. I think that's what I would go for. What's a skill that you've developed since you became a VTuber? 3D modeling, I guess. Like I didn't have a good idea of it before I started up. I use a VRite Studio, which does a lot of the heavy lifting, but you still have to. There's still a lot of stuff you have to do even then. But yeah, it's honestly something I've had to just learn by trial by fire. And I'd like to say I'm getting pretty good at it. I still can't do hair very good. Like the hair I've got right now, there's nothing special about it. I colored it, but beyond that, I didn't edit it any because the hair is just very finicky to mess with. But I also didn't really need to mess with it. Like I like it how it is. We got a question. What type of file do you use to sharpen your teeth? I don't. God, don't say stuff like that, okay? Like I had I remember a nightmare where like someone was filing my teeth down and I felt it. It was painful. I don't want to think about that. Ugh, gosh, why would you do this to me? If you could trade places with a historical figure for a day, who would it be and what would you do? I feel like this is once again like a question of like, oh, what fantasy world do you want to go to, and like all that stuff. Like, it's once again, I don't want to do it. Okay, so like, I gotta figure out something. I gotta understand here is with this question, is it saying that I'm just swapping out with this person, so I'm still me, just in this different time period, or I am possessing this person's body and they're possessing my body in the normal time? Because I feel like I don't know which one's worse. Because like let's say I picked Hitler before he did all the bad stuff, and I tried to just undo. I tried to prevent all that from happening, and so I then have I'm either just Wisconsin boy in 1930s Germany, or 1930s Hitler is controlling my body in the present, which I'm sure that would be a culture shock for him. But like I wouldn't trust I wouldn't trust him with my body. Which okay, I made that sound weirder than it already was. Let's move on to another question. We're not going anywhere with this one. If you could hang out with any fictional character for a day, who would it be and what would you do? I I feel like this comes back to like the anime character thing. Like I I feel like I feel like if I hung well okay, so like this is fictional character, not just anime, but still. I feel like I'm the side character that just gets killed off as like the one-off side character who just gets killed immediately for story progression. And I'm worried about that being translated into real life. So I don't think I would want to hang out with a fictional character. But if I had to, um I'm I'm drawing a blank. I can't really think. So like I just can't think of any fictional character I would actually want to meet, is the thing. Like, it all just seems terrible. How do you balance your VTuber life and your personal life? Hang out, oh, hang out with Scrooge. Okay, I guess no one. I can't think of any circumstance where anyone in a Scrooge McDuck thing has ever died. So I guess that would work out. But like if the idea is that like they're just translated into the real world as they are, I don't think Scrooge McDuck has any of his money. Actually, no, he carries money on him, doesn't he? Like he has a vault in his pocket. So, I guess I would just mug Scrooge McDuck. There's your answer for the last question. For this one, how do you balance your VTuber life and your personal life? I'm trying to think like if I am having to balance it even because like the only real conflict is just okay. So like I always have this intrusive thought of just recite your name and address and social security number and all that stuff while you're live on stream. Say it in front of all the people. And it's an intrusive thought that's very obnoxious. And it's like I have to make sure I don't accidentally say the intrusive thoughts out loud. That's the thing that I have to balance, honestly. Badly. What? Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah, I balance I balance my lives badly. Gosh. Just don't give me a break, I guess. Oh yeah, but I guess the answer is don't give in to the intrusive thoughts. What's the first video game you ever played? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, it was on GameCube. I can say that much because that's the first. Was it the first? Now that I think about it, I'm trying to think back. So when I was a kid, my dad bought me like a few different plug-and-play games. I remember we had a plug-and-play Atari system. Now it wasn't like a genuine Atari system. It was a plug-and-play system stylized to look like an Atari, and it had the Atari controls, and had all the classic Atari games. But it was a new device. And I think that might have been the first game system I ever played with. I think that might be it. So it was one of those games. Actually, no, I think the GameCube might have been before that. I think my dad might have got me a GameCube before the Atari system. So that still doesn't bring me to the answer of like what my first game was. I think the earliest one I can remember playing was Simpsons Hit and Run on the GameCube. As you can see, that helped me develop into a rational and productive member of society. My favorite thing to do in that game was to like drive up onto an overpass and push cars off the ledge. I remember that fondly. Oh, where? Anyways, if you could have an animal sidekick, what would it be? I I feel like it's a little obvious. I would have like a little badger friend. Like okay, so like actually, oh excuse me, sorry. So like so like here in Wisconsin, it was actually back in the early days, ye olden times. It was actually somewhat of a common thing for people to take baby badgers, which I a baby. So the God, I'm not good at the whole train of thought thing. Okay, so a baby badger can be called either a cub, a kit, or a pup. But anyways, it would be common to take badger kits and raise them at raise them as pets because they made good guard animals. They're very territorial. But if you raise one and you do it right, and it doesn't freak out at you, it doesn't attack you as stuff. The thing is, they still have like burrowing instincts, so like you have to give them a spot where they can dig around. Otherwise, they're gonna dig right through your wooden floors. Um, what was the other thing I was talking? Right, yeah, yeah. So right, the thing I was getting to. So the badgers as pets kind of fell off around here because as more people started moving in, you had hunters who were poaching them for their furs, and you'd also have dogs that would attack them. So people stopped having badgers as pets. I remember my great grandmother actually had a pet badger when she was a little girl. Her father caught it for her. Um, it didn't. Well, I was gonna say it didn't get killed, but obviously it died at some point because this was like 100 years ago. Um, but it didn't get killed while she had it. It just reached a point where like she realized, oh yeah, this is a wild animal, and so she just let it outside, which is probably traumatizing for her. It's like, oh, you raised me, and now you're just throwing me out. Okay, yeah, a badger pet would be kind of cute. Next question: if you could design your own virtual world, what would it be like? I'm confused by this one. So is it like I'm trying to wrap my head around this one. Okay, give me a. So, is this question asking me? Is this like the game question again? Is it asking me, hey, what would you build as a video game, or is it asking me, um, I lost my train of thought again. So virtual world. I'm guessing this isn't video game because if they meant video game, they would say it. Um, so is this like VR chat world or something? Because I have thought of it before, like making well, not like a VR chat thing. Well, actually, no. It would if VR chat wasn't so hostile to my concept of a user interface. I would probably be using that for. I'm probably using it right now, actually. Um, but yeah, like if I could set up like a little 3D world, I would probably honestly it would probably look like a Hobbit hole, just more rustic. Like I would like it to be like kind of like a badger den, but like made to look like a rural American home, I guess. So I would have like a Packers jersey and a gun rack up on the walls. I can't really think of anything else to do in that regard. Uh, But yeah, let's move on. I hope whoever asked that, I hope I answered that to your uh what would the term be? I hope I answered that sufficiently because I can't quite figure out what you meant by it. This is a recurring theme with some of these questions. Is there a message you would like to share as you celebrate your birthday and VTuber career? Not really, I guess. I don't. I'm drawing a blank here. I'm sorry. Um, I guess thank you to every. Actually, yeah. Thank you to all my followers and subscribers and whatever else you're called. Um, like my whole career literally is built on you guys for some reason wanting to pay attention to me, and I really appreciate it. Um, I, I'm not good at saying thanks, so understand that I am grateful, even if I'm not good at expressing it. How did you get started as a firearm hobbyist? My dad got me into it when I was a kid. I remember he. I'm trying to. I can't remember the first gun I ever shot. But I know the first. I know one of the earliest guns I've shot was a Ruger 1022 for it was a youth model. Oh, excuse me. My dad got me for competition shooting and training and stuff. I remember he took me to a target shooting course. Like it was a I want to say like a training thing, but like that makes it sound like it was some like militant thing, but it was just like a target shooting hobbyist thing. Where I learned how to, shoot accurately with a rifle. Um, and I think I got into like historical firearms again because of my dad, because he was buying he bought like a few firearms back in the time when like you could get old milsurp guns for pretty cheap. Before the market on them just completely and utterly crashed. Like it's gone now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anyone who wanted to get into milsurp historical firearms. They're gone. You're not gonna find them anymore. That's just a very painful truth about it. Um, but yeah. Anyways, my dad buying those that got me into historical firearms. But it was only I want to say it was like maybe 2017 I started getting like really into firearms, like mechanically speaking. He did take me my dad did take me some competition shoots. I remember I got disqualified from one because I made some rich kid cry because I outshot him with he had some fancy boy like fancy boy rifle that was like it was multiple several $1,000s and some fancy boy scope on top of it. And he had some fancy wire rigged jacket to keep his arms steady while he was shooting and everything. And then I just showed up and like, I can't remember what I think I was wearing like not denim jacket like. I can't remember what the material is called, but like I just show up, country boy with his jacket and a shit rod Mosin with iron sights, and I outshot him, and I got disqualified because his parents bitched at the judges over it. But yeah, that was a thing. That I guess I should. Well, I guess that's my most notable experience in terms of firearm hobbyism. What's your favorite firearm you own and why? Okay, good that it's specifying firearm I own. Like okay, so like I set up a hand cam thing, which I'm gonna use later. But the thing is, my favorite firearm is a rifle, and I can't fit it onto my desk, so I won't be able to show it off anyways. Maybe I can show it off in, well, Do I have any pictures of it that I could put up right now? Give me a hot second. I think I might actually have a picture of the rifle. I could just pull it up right now. And it should be... Oh, okay, that's blocking a little bit of the screen. Give me a second. I gotta adjust this. Alright, so this is my Mannlicher Model 9530. This is my favorite rifle. I bought this. I can't remember when. This is several years ago, but like, I don't really know what it is. But the gun, it just has like just all. It's just the right balance to it. and it just feels really good to carry. Okay, that might sound a little weird, but let's get this out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. But yeah, that's it. The Mannlicher Mel 9530, my favorite gun I own, the crown jewel of my collection. If you could own any historic firearm, what would you pick? Honestly, a BAR, a Browning automatic rifle would be really cool, but I between it being heavy and it being a machine gun that fires 30-06, I just wouldn't. I would never have an opportunity to actually take it out and shoot it, and that's a big thing for me. Is like not just having these historical firearms, but being able to take them out and actually go target shooting with them. I thought I had something on my mind, and now I can't think of. Actually, what's it called? A Springfield trapdoor rifle. I guess that would be pretty cool to have. Or maybe a Craig Jorgensen. I guess those would be my two picks. I'm trying to remember what the Springfield trapdoor was usually chambered. I want to say it was like a 57 caliber something. Now I can't think of it. It doesn't matter. Like that's one of the big issues with historical guns, though, is that they're almost always chambered in rounds that just aren't manufactured anymore. So that means you can't shoot them. So that defeats part of the thing when I want to have them is taking them out target shooting. Like I've gotten like returning to something my dad did when I was younger. He got me an Arisaka rifle. That's a Japanese bolt action rifle that was from World War II. And I don't take out and shoot it much because there's just no ammo for it. Like I have like a handful of rounds for it, and then that's it. That's basically all of the ammo on the continent. So it's not easy to like take it out and shoot it because there's just no ammo to shoot through it. Where's I going with this? I can't remember now. What's a firearm fact not many people know? Okay, so like this is something I mostly see with like Fallout games and such. Is like ammunition does have a shelf life. Now it depends on a lot of factors. Like the time period it was made in is usually it's not like the time period itself, but rather like the materials being used in that time period. Because like okay, so like let's say let's say World War II era ammunition. Okay, like that was ammunition produced during warfare. Like it was the whole point of it was that it was going to be shot off in the near future, like within months, maybe excuse me, maybe years. Like it wasn't meant to sit on a shelf for a long time. So they used materials that only need to be stable for that long. So if you find ammunition from that time period, it's typically going to be unstable. Possibly it's going to be what's the term? Um, the chemicals will degrade it to the point that's a inert. That's it. So the ammo might be inert, or it might become volatile. Because it is possible for a round to just reach a. It's a chemical thing, but like it can become very sensitive. So like a round could go off from you dropping. Now, like a round going off outside the chamber, it'll mostly just be a pop and a bang, and that's it. Particularly if the powder has chemically degraded enough that it's no longer very potent. That's another thing. Like even if the like primer is still good and it still fires properly, like you can end up with the powder being like partially inert, so it might not have enough power to actually get the bullet out of the barrel. So you can end up with what's called a squib. That's when the bullet gets stuck traveling down the barrel. Um, Nowadays, like ammunition usually doesn't fall into that kind of thing, but it can still happen. Like right now with the Ukraine conflict, a lot of ammunition manufacturers are going for that shorter term manufacturing because they're expecting the ammo to be used up. So if you buy any ammo that's after or from this conflict that's going on in Ukraine right now, you might end up with ammo that's only meant to last a couple of years. Now, in typical situations, like if you're buying like civilian sale ammo for like hunting and stuff, that can usually handle a while. Like that can have a shelf life of like several decades per potentially centuries, depending on like how it's stored. All right, like if you keep it Dry, and airtight, it'll be fine most of the time. Like a lot of that stuff, the chemicals typically have a half life measured in centuries, so it will keep. But like, of course, if you expose it to water, you can end up with the casings corroding. I'm trying to remember other stuff that can go wrong with it, but yeah, I rambled on a little long with that one. But yeah, the ultimate point is that ammo does have a shelf life, but you can usually tell just by like looking at the cartridges themselves. They'll usually be stamped with like the year they were made, maybe. Um, or they will have like signs of degradation. Like if a casing looks like it's being corroded from the inside, that means the powder inside has entered into a chemical state where it's corroding the metal, which means it's gone bad. Okay, I would hope I I would hope that would be self-evident at that point. Have you ever played a game that accurately portrayed firearm usage? Broadly speaking, no. Like, so many games just have so much trouble. So, like, the closest I would say is Arma. Like, the closest I would say that's the game I'd say that got the closest. Like, now this is of course games that I've played. I'm sure like Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. That's a VR game. I've never played it. I'm sure there's other games like that maybe capture firearms more closely, but I haven't played them. Okay, I've played like The Hunter, Arma, Escape from Tarkov. Those all try, but I mean, The Hunter and Tarkov, those just fall miserably, and then Arma gets it mostly. Like Arma gets the closest. But something that comes up with a lot of games is like, okay, so like distance is usually the biggest one. Okay, so like most uh guns tend to have a lot more range than people understand. Okay, like most rifles have range increments in hundreds of meters, but most games don't have any instances where the range is more than 100 meters, because if they did, they would have to have a bigger map, and that would take more processing power and also more work to make. So game developers don't usually make those. They usually make small maps. There's also recoil and shot spread is also a big thing. So like if you're now in the case of games that were like you're hip firing, then yeah, you're gonna be spread or everywhere. All right, like hip firing is the worst way to shoot. Well, okay, it's not the worst way to shoot a gun, but it's one of the worst ways. It's going to be very inaccurate, and you're not likely to hit any of your targets. But um, I lost my train of thought again. Right, yeah, it's like recoil. Games tend to like overplay recoil a lot, and it's usually for balancing because like guns that are really like if a gun's more powerful than then they want to increase the recoil so that you have to so you can't just like kill opponents really fast with it, right? They have to make it more difficult. And that's the thing about real life is that the real life isn't balanced, okay? And that's the thing is like when you want to put guns into a game, you have to decide do you want realism or balance because even though you can try and get both of them, you're gonna have to pick one over the other. And often, most often, game developers will pick to abandon realism in favor of balance, and they just take it really far to the point that they've just abandoned realism entirely. They don't care about it at all. Looking at you, Tarkov. Um, the Hunter has like some similar issues to Tarkov because like again, it's mostly issues of, like bullet speed is what I've noticed. Like bullet speed and bullet drop. Like most of the time, it's like an M4, right? You could probably dial the sights to 200 meters, and then that would just it would be good for most situations. In like Tarkov, if you did that, you would be shooting over everyone's heads all the time because there's just so few instances where distances are even at 200 meters, much less over them. So at the 200-meter mark, your character's not aiming like a little bit higher; they're aiming like 5 feet above the guy you're aiming at. Okay, I'm getting a little too long-winded with this. Let's move on to another question. So yeah, the short answer to that question is no. Like, just no one's done it very well. Like maybe Arma, but even then, they aren't great at it. Do you have any firearm maintenance tips? Don't be afraid of oil. Okay, like this is something I had to. This is something I had to break into myself. But don't be afraid of using oil on a firearm. Okay, like I I don't like the feeling of oil on my hands. I get that. I understand other people are like that, and you don't want to risk oil staining your clothes or anything. But the fact is, guns need oil. Okay, they need it for making sure their parts can actually move properly. All right. I've got a I've got a PLR 16. It's a piston driven pistol, and uh I was having trouble with it for a very long time. And eventually I figured out that so the problem was that it wasn't chambering rounds properly. And I eventually figured out that I needed to just drown the piston system in oil so that it was very well lubricated and then it ran just fine. And that was its whole issue. So never be afraid of applying oil to a gun. Like unless you're like just like don't just dip the whole thing in oil, like particularly if you're about to go take it shooting because you don't want like the oil to like combust and you don't want your hands slipping off the gun because it's all covered in oil. And don't give yourself oil poison because this is a toxic substance. Remember, this stuff is dangerous. And make sure you're using like like 3-in-1 oil. That works fine. All right, that's like typical household oil. Don't go using canola oil or any other organic oil that's gonna rot. Okay, that's a bad idea. Which of your firearms is best suited for a survival scenario? I can't really say because like there's so many different survival. I'm trying to think of how to approach this again. So there's a lot of like different survival scenarios, and they're all gonna have different demands of you. Okay, so like let's say like a typical like long shotgun. Okay, like that'd be good for hunting. Okay, you can do bird hunting, varmint hunting, deer hunting, and it's also a good like defensive weapon, but it lacks good distance. And when I say it lacks good distance, buckshot can typically reach out to like 100 yards and still be lethal. And slugs are somewhat similar, but once you're past that 100 yard mark, you're not getting like it can't reliably damage aggressors. Is the best way I can think to say it without Twitch freaking out. Um, and then you got rifles. Like you do of course have to deal with the fact that I'm trying to think of how to say this. Like there are so many different types of rifles that once again you end up with what situation are you in? Like, do you want a short rifle, a long rifle? Do you want something with a lot of firepower per shot, or do you want large volume of fire? Pistols are good typically, simply because they're very much easier to carry. They're lighter. You can carry them in a holster instead of having to sling them over your back or over a shoulder. But again, they have their own problems, typically like a lack of firepower, lack of capacity compared to other weapons, and a general lack of range. Um over in general, I would say like the gun I was just talking about, the PLR 16, I guess that would be my go-to simply because it's a small package gun that gives me more range and oh, sorry, excuse me. It uses like a lot of AR stuff, typically like the stun egg mag, also usually called just an AR mag. It uses those and it uses 5.56, so it's like something easy to like replenish as needs be. So I guess that would be my survival scenario gun. Have you ever participated in a marksmanship competition or other shooting event? How did it go? I actually mentioned this earlier with my dad. So I've gone in words. Gosh, I'm having trouble talking. I'm sorry. So I've been in a lot of different shooting competitions, mostly when I was a kid, And most of them were like, I'm trying to remember. I was in like a light rifle shooting competition. That was just with my 22. I didn't win that because I was just getting impatient and just shooting paper instead of like properly aiming at the targets. I also I did some pigeon shooting. That's the clay pigeons, not real pigeons. With a 20 gauge shotgun. That was fun. But the one I talked about earlier, my dad actually entered me into like some I can't remember what it was called, but it was like some prissy big pants shooting competition for rich kids. Because I think looking back at it, I think it was like a $500 entry fee, which he entered me into it because of the prize. I'm trying to remember what the prize was. I think the prize was like some rich boy rifle that we were thinking of just like selling to go buy other stuff. I can't remember all the details of it very well, but I remember I showed up there and like you had all these rich kids that had I described it earlier, like they had rifles worth multiple thousands of dollars equipped with optics that were also worth multiple thousands of dollars, and they had these like weird wire rig jackets to like steady them while they're aiming. And then I just showed up in like my farm coat with my shit rod Mosin that my dad swapped the wood stock out for a polymer Monte Carlo stock, but otherwise it's still just a shit rod Mosin with iron sights. And I didn't know at the time that this was even really a tournament. I just knew my dad was taking me to a shooting range. Um, and so yeah, the point is like I participated in the shooting competition and I actually did very well. And like I said earlier, one of the rich kids I outshot, he and his parents complained to the judges of the whole thing because I showed up with like a $100 rifle and just completely styled on all of them, and they didn't like that, so they just disqualified me for. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think the line they used was like insufficient equipment or something like that. Even though I did have all my like hearing and eye protection gear, so yeah. If you could have any fictional firearm in real life, what would you pick? I think off the cuff, the 5.56 millimeter revolver from Fallout New Vegas. Like that's the whole reason I bought the PLR 16 in the first place was because I wanted a pistol in 5.56. I don't know why, it was just my compulsion. And of course I couldn't have a revolver, but I got that. I got the PLR, so it is I like it. It's cool and all, but if I could actually pick to have the revolver, I would like to have it. Um oh god, I feel like there's something else. There's a lot of like fictional guns in like across different video games I played, but like that's the only one that stands out to me really. I feel like there's something and I can't think of it. Okay, so like the combat rifle in Fallout 4. People shit on it because it's just such an ugly gun. I like it actually. And because it's a 45 auto, I shoot 45 auto, I'm a boomer like that. So it would actually be a carbine I could actually like play around with some, and I would like something like that. So probably a weird pick, honestly, but still. Besides those two, I can't think of anything. Nothing else is coming to me. So let's move to the next question. What advice do you have for people who are new to firearms, either as hobbyists or for self-defense? Um, I'm gonna hit you with the old adage of a $500 gun with $500 of training is better than a $1,000 gun. And what this ultimately means is that the gun and the ammo in it matters less than the shooter's skill. All right, like you can use some 22 caliber rat pistol for self defense if you can get good shot placement, but I still wouldn't like if you can get good shot placement with it, I would still suggest you go with something better. But if that's the only thing you have, then that's the thing you should like learn to use well. I'm trying to think of something. Don't bother with 25 auto. Like that's a gimmick cartridge. Don't touch it. I also have nothing positive to say about 380 auto. nine. Basically, if you're like new to guns, I would say like get just a basic ass Glock 17. Like, is just the most basic pistol in existence. Um, it shoots 9 millimeter. It's easy to get. Like aftermarket stuff is so easy to get, and even then, most of it's not entirely necessary. Um, the thing about self defense is like this is split between everyday carry and home defense. These are two very separate tasks. These are two separate tasks that would typically call for separate guns. Now, you could use your everyday carry for home defense, but it's not something I would typically suggest. All right, I suggest having like a proper rifle or some other type of long arm, like not not Grandpa Bubba's mile long shotgun for bird hunting. All right, don't try using that for home defense. That's not going to work out well. Get a good home defense rifle or shotgun is honestly the best thing to do for home defense. But if you are on a budget, you'll want a pistol that can do everyday carry and home defense. Honestly, buy a high point. Like high point, actually no, high point does so. The issue with high points is that though you can get them in a few different chamberings. I know they put the 9 millimeter one out a while back, and I think they're coming out with the 10 millimeter one as well. The most typical ones you're going to find are 380 and 45 auto. But the biggest issue with high points, they're cheap, they're easy to use, and they're actually very good pistols. The issue with them is their magazines, which is also another one that. So basically, every high point has a 9 round magazine. All of them do it. And it's not a technical problem with the gun, it's a legal problem with the gun because the developers of the gun wanted it to be available everywhere, or at least in as many places as possible. So part of that was limiting the magazine to just 9 rounds so that it would be legal in places that have such magazine restrictions. Now, even then, that still makes it illegal in some places, but they're aiming just for as many places as possible while still having a practical firearm. Don't pick up high point carbines though, like just the pistols. The carbines fall apart, like they're bad. I don't know. It's the same gun, so I don't know why it's failing when they just extend the barrel and throw a stock on. I also like Keltec. Keltec is a bit more expensive, and their stuff is wacky, but I still like their stuff. Are there any connections between your gaming hobby and your firearms hobby, both in content creation and in your personal life? Honestly, I can't find many intersections between it. Like, okay, so like I like I'm trying to think. So like I like looking through like 3D models of guns and like downloading them and using them for a lot of the memes I make. Actually, I think I should have some pre. Let me check quick. I think I have some accessories set up. Yeah, I've got a G3, RPD, um, a Beretta PM12. So like these are some these are some of the guns like I just have set up for like pulling out and slapping on my model during recordings like this. Um, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. That okay, yeah, that's an intersection between like my firearm hobby and like my 3D modeling stuff. But as for gaming, it mostly comes up in like me complaining about games not doing firearms correctly. And that's mostly it. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done while trying to impress someone? Um, I can't think of anything I can't think of anything embarrassing I've done while trying to impress a person. But now that I'm thinking about it, I can think of at least one embarrassing situation. I wasn't embarrassed in the situation, but I know I embarrassed my family members. At least one of them. So basically, when I was a little kid, my older sister, she would play basketball with a lot of her friends. Like it was like she was on a basketball team for school, right? And my dad would drag me along to the games just to like keep an eye on me. All right, right. And so I would just be stuck for multiple hours while my sister plays basketball with her friends. Little Badger ended up developing a crush on one of my sister's friends who was very tall. And um, I remember after one of my sister's practice games, I ran up and hugged this girl's legs and asked her to be my girlfriend. Which my older sister was mortified, but I don't remember the girl's reaction. I'm fairly certain that she was mortified as well. But I remember my dad and the girl's dad were both just laughing so much. They thought it was hilarious. Have you ever tried pushing a pull door or vice versa? Okay, yeah, this is just a typical goof, and this is something I've done at least a few times. Notably, um, actually no, this isn't a case of me doing something wrong. But so anyways, this one time back when I was in school, I was going to the bathroom, while like between classes, so everyone's out and about, and I go to the bathroom door, and I'm not like I'm just trying to get in there quick. So I just hit the door at a stride. It's a push door. I hit it at a stride and I just slam into it. And so I tried pushing on it again, and it turns out that the door was locked. So I just slammed face first into a door in like in front of a lot of people. But like the thing is, there was no marker on the door at all to indicate that it was locked. Like it was just locked for no reason. It was a bathroom door. Why did they have it locked? I can't. I'm thinking back and I can't think of why they had it locked. Someone just locked the bathroom door for no reason. So, anyways, I ended up having to go to the other side of the school to use a different bathroom, and so I ended up late for class. But it doesn't matter. I got a little bit off subject, but yeah, I can't think of a notable instance of me pushing a pull door or vice versa. But I know what's happened. You guys sent me a lot of questions. Like this is after I sorted through them and removed a lot. I know. Okay, so like there were more than a few of like face reveal when I'm not doing a face reveal. All right, if you ever see my real face, someone leaked it without my permission, and I'm about to remove them from the timeline. Have you ever mistaken someone for someone else? Yes, repeatedly. I can't think of doing it recently. Well, no. I've got some. I'm trying to think of how much to say here. So like basically like neighbor of mine, we wouldn't really hang out. I wouldn't call us friends, but like we work together with stuff, because we're neighbors. But like he's got relatives over, and the thing is, he looks a lot like his relatives, and I have bad eyes, particularly when it's really bright and sunny out, and I'm basically blind. So I'll end up like calling my neighbor's name, and it'll be his relative who just looks around confused. I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry. How do you gracefully escape conversations that you find yourself trapped in? Okay, so like this is something common here in the Midwest. It's often called the Midwest goodbye. It's just things just keep trailing on and on when they should have ended a long time ago. I'm trying to think of the trick I usually like it helps I'm forgetful, because sometimes I'll just be like, "Oh right, I just remembered something I need to go do," and I'll just leave. I'll just act like it's something urgent and just walk out. It also similarly, it also helps that I have something healthy. Okay, I'll be right back. I've got a dog barking for no reason. We'll be right back again, folks. Anyways, what was I on about again? Right, I should move on to the next question about gra- gracefully escaping conversations. Yeah, I'm not good at that. How do you break awkward silences? I don't know. I wish I knew how to do this. I have no advice on this matter. All right, I'm bad at doing this. Anytime whenever I'm talking to some friends and it's just an awkward silence like happens, I feel like I'm responsible for it and I need to resolve it, but I can never think of a way to do so. Yeah, one of my friends said that he should be around by now. Where the hell is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, wait. I wasn't actually recording you. I just realized that I had the.
Birthday to you.
Okay, well, fortunately for my audience, I wasn't recording you being extremely loud because I just realized I had desktop audio turned off.
Do that again.
No, you really don't have to. Were you loud
Aw.
deliberately, or is it just what?
I was just singing on full pipes, but you know, I didn't mean to actually be like. You must have turned me up,
No,
probably.
you were just at you were at normal volume.
I was just. This is. Am I talking now? Am I?
Yes,
Am
yes,
I?
you should be on stream. Let me have a check.
Yes.
Jesus, man.
Ugh,
Okay, no, never mind.
This is my.
The stream just reached the point where I'm yelling at you for blowing out my eardrums. That's how far behind it is.
Oh. Well, this is post rugby match. This is how all Englishmen are post rugby match.
Did England lose?
No, we absolutely slaughtered the fucking Argentinians.
Okay, but did you lose the game?
We took them apart. No, yeah, we killed them, but we still lost. No.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just the entire British team walks out with fucking FALs, guns down the other team, and they still manage to lose.
Oh no, we would somehow no, but okay, nice.
All right, so I like that. I like that you got here in time for the how do you break awkward silences question, and proceed to blow my eardrums out, which did not get picked up on the recording.
How do you break awkward silences? Be awfully loud and yell about random things and just sing happy birthday at the top of your voice.
Yeah, thank you for the happy birthday, though.
You're very welcome. Happy birthday, Badger. How does it feel to be another year older?
My lumbago's acting up.
Oh, that's not good. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so we are I got a lot of submissions for the question thing. There was a couple hundred initially that I had to sort down into 75. We're currently at 55 of 75. I don't remember how I sorted these. I stayed up late a few nights doing this, and I have no memory of it. So we're gonna.
Oh dear. Well, I'm presuming you had to filter out all the questions about anime waifus and certain groups of people, and
it was mostly So, okay, well, I will say that several of them were just statements of happy birthday, which appreciated. But again, my fans, please learn to follow instructions.
No, this is the one thing you have to learn on the internet. No one follows instructions ever. You have to you have to account for this.
The next question we've got is, have you ever forgotten someone's name immediately after being introduced to them? If you have, how did you play it off? Yeah, like literally
all the time.
Okay, this is the saving grace of Discord, is that your names are just in front of my face all the fucking time, okay? Yeah. That's the only way I ever learn your name on Discord, right? Because if we're in person and you're not wearing a fucking name tag, I'm not remembering your name. All right, I'm not gonna remember it. You can say it to me as many times as you want. If I don't have a visual reminder of who you are, I'm not remembering your name.
No, literally, people, you know, you go to a social event, you get introduced to someone new, and, oh, hello, lovely. And then their name goes in one ear, comes straight out the other, unless there's a really weird name, like or something very specific where like, oh, that's interesting, or it connects with something.
Not even then, like, for me. Like, not even then. Like, it doesn't matter what your name is, I'm forgetting it.
Because I'm so focused on being there in the social situation and being nice and everything that I don't actually, I forget to remember the name until too late. I forget it just gets written off, and the printout goes somewhere and it falls out of my brain, and then it's gone.
Like particularly in like social events where it's like, I'm never gonna meet you again, buddy. I'm not bothering remembering your name.
Well, yeah, but there are also times when you do need to remember people's names, and then it's just. I mean, the thing is, I realize I don't often say people's names in conversation. They're very specific, like For example, Xavier is a good exception to this because I've had to yell his name at him a number of times over our many years of friendship. But often I don't actually say people's names at them, and even if I know their name, if I haven't heard it specifically from them, I feel awkward about saying it to them just in case someone's told me the wrong information. But yeah, there aren't actually many scenarios out of very specific ones where you actually need to say someone's name to them. You can often get away by just going straight back into conversation. And I remember faces, obviously, and I remember that all works.
Oh, I don't remember faces either.
And sometimes it's easy just to play it off. Like I'll just chill on, like, you know what, look, sorry, yeah, can you just say your name again, because look, I'm terrible. Look, I it just went in just and then I make a play of committing it to memory, and it's all a jokey, it's all done in fun, and that's a way to get away with a lot of things in life.
Okay, so we're
getting it all off as a joke.
Hugo, take a second to breathe. I'm gonna change the server location because it keeps trying to connect to Hong Kong.
What?
Okay, we're back now. All right. So you kept breaking up, and I checked Discord's server thing. It kept trying to route us through Hong Kong, so I switched it to US East.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Hong Kong, of all places. So how much of my long rant there was actually taken?
Most of it got through. It would do this weird thing where you'd be silent for a second, and then it would just play all of your words sped up.
Oh yeah. It does that, especially with songs. Like playing songs over Discord, sometimes it just jumps and.
What was the thing I was thinking of again? Right, but yeah. You talking about yelling Xavier's name sometime. It reminded me. As friends with this guy Spencer, long time back, and this one time. I can't remember what we were playing. It might have been Ark, Survival Evolved or something, but it didn't matter. Like I wanted him to follow me, so he said, "Spencer, come on." And I clicked my tongue like that at the end of it, and like he heard the tongue click, and he's like, "Did you just click your tongue at me? What am I, a dog?" I'm sorry. It's a force of habit.
Horse, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it's a sound I make with all animals, like. Okay, that came across like I was referring to my friend as an animal, but
I mean,
no.
Technically, humans are animals.
Okay, it's like
we are.
I'm usually handling animals, so my go-to for summoning them is to click my tongue.
Oh, you are handling your friend now, are you?
Why are you like this? Anyway, so like back to the question. So it asks, how do you play it off? Like I do kind of the same thing that you described. Like, I try to avoid having to use names. But, like, when it finally reaches the point where I need to use a person's name, I'll just upfront say, "Oh, I forgot your name."
Yeah, you just have to...
basically,
the way you get...
I'll try to play it off better as, "Oh, I didn't catch your name earlier." I'll gaslight them into thinking they didn't actually tell me their name.
Yeah, that's honestly... probably very standard. I think a lot of people do that, and I mean because it's not, you don't even have to gaslight that. You can just pretend that you forgot that you even heard it, and people.
Like say like I don't believe I don't believe I heard your name earlier.
Yeah, because the DJ might have played something loud at that point.
There is no DJ. It's complete silence here. There's only the two of us. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Father. I'll get on with telling you my sins.
Yeah. You're at confessional. It's like, I'm sorry, what's your name again? You're not supposed to know the other person's name. It's confessional.
No, yeah, you're not. You're really not. No.
Let's
it is, honestly, the way to get past any social situation is just to be sort of chill with it and to point out your own flaws in a sort of self-deprecating way. It's like the classic way to deal with a joke. If you were doing a comedy something and a joke bombs, you just point at it and laugh and say like, "Oh shit, that one died." Well, You just provide commentary. You just people love self effacement because you
Yeah.
just
Anyways, next
so yeah.
question. What was your favorite game when you were a child? I think I had this earlier, like what video game I played with, but this is asking game, so I guess that's supposed to be broader than just video games. Like a lot of these questions are kind of repeats, and that's annoying me. Is like it feels like there's enough distinction that I actually have to give a new answer.
I
And
mean, yeah.
I can't really. I can't actually. Oh, actually, now that I think about, okay, so I wouldn't say it was my favorite game, but this did remind me. It's like when I was a kid, my dad, we would go to Goodwill sometimes, and we found a Jumanji board game. Now, unfortunately,
Oh, nice.
it unfortunately was not the Magic board game that summoned horrible animals from the depths of the Amazon.
And brought forth uh not Rowan Williams. That's the Archbishop.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
Ha! You
What a
fucking.
bizarre Rowan Williams, former Archbishop of Canterbury.
Hey.
I don't know if that would have made it a better movie, but it would have made it a weirder movie, certainly.
Um. Yeah, my dad bought the board game for like $2, I think it was, and that was when he shared with me this like financial principle that he would abide by. It was for every dollar you spend on something, you should get an hour out of it. And so like since my sisters and I spent a few hours playing that, then the $2 board game was worth the money he put into it.
That's fair. Yeah. Wonder if I suppose it depends what we count as kid, really. So if we're talking pre-teen, then like most of I'm going to be honest. A lot of play times I spent just running around, just like imagining things in my own head, and
Mm-hmm.
like pretending to be a Jedi or a member of the Thunderbirds or whatever, and just going through the entire scenario just alone.
Yeah, back in the good old days when we were kids and we could just beat the
Uh,
shit out of each other with sticks as a game.
Boxhead was fantastic.
I don't know
in
what
the
the
day.
hell. What did you just say?
That was Boxhead. So this is a sort of mini clip era game, but it wasn't actually on mini clip. It was it's top down. You're in a maze and you're a guy, and there's like zombies, and eventually there's like the devil who shoots like fireballs at you, and it's great.
Oh, it was
you
like a flash
eventually-
game, is what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's probably I think they're all dead now because Flash.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it was that was like probably one of the first computer games I ever played was Boxhead. It was like because it was a huge thing in my class back in like 2005
No.
when I was like 5 or something.
I mean, now that I think
we'd go on the computers at school and just play Boxhead.
now that I think about it, like so, like the some of the questions earlier about like what like strategy games and stuff. But now that I think about it, I think the first strategy game I ever played was a game called Crystallian Conflict, and it was a flash game made to promote the Mars Mission Lego line. And I was really obsessed with that because I don't know what it was, but I had this period where I was obsessed with Mars stuff.
That's fair. I remember. Do you remember Did you ever go on mini clip substantially?
I don't remember mini clips at all, but I do remember. I think I went on Armor Games was the site I went to, and eventually
I
moved on to Congregate. That's it. I used to. There's a site called Wait, did you do Congregate?
I know Congregate because that was one of the ones that I think they actually made Boxhead. I don't know if I ever went onto it, but I always saw their logo before.
Yeah. So like I went on the Congregate. It's like there's a period where I spent a lot of time on the Congregate website, and that was like my first like experience of like what would be the term, like online interactions with people. Because next, like if you signed in, then whatever game you're playing, there would always be a chat room off to the side, and you just have to like pick a room, and then you could text message people.
Pick a room.
What's your favorite memory from school? Did you play any pranks? Um,
Favorite memory from
okay,
school.
so
As
like,
if any of them were good.
yeah, okay, so I've got a couple stories to go through, but first we're gonna start with kind of a prank. It was more like whatever. Anyways, so like this one day in cooking class, I can't remember how it came up, but I told the teacher that I knew how to make an egg stand up, and he was interested in this, and like while I was going out to get an egg, this girl in the class, she said, "Well, do you know how to stack one egg on top of another too? If you can make one stand?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that as well." And so I grabbed 2 eggs from the fridge, and I took them over to one of the cooking counters, and I smashed in the bottom of one egg so it was flat and stood it up, and I smashed the bottom of the other egg so it was concave and stacked on top of the first egg. And the teacher was just like, "I really don't know what I expected." I went back to my seat, and the teacher actually, like, he went and got the eggs, and he just started cooking them up right there while continuing the lesson.
Just don't waste them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, he got to have a couple of eggs as a snack.
That's nice.
But not so nice story. So like the school I went to, I want to preface this by saying it never was a prison, but it was originally built to be a prison.
So it was built with the intention of becoming a prison. It
Yeah.
just never got around to it.
Yeah, so basically, like, they built the basement and the first floor foundation, or ground floor, I guess it would be for you limeys. And they built those, and then it took them building that stuff before they said, "Hey, why are we putting a prison so close to a residential district?" And so they decided
not a marvelous idea.
they dropped that, and they decided that it would be too expensive to move all the building materials and stuff and just tear the whole place down. So they decided to find a different purpose for it. So they decided to turn it into a school instead. So like, it got the interior got like renovated to be used for like classrooms and stuff. But you can still see like the construction material between the construction materials and some of the like patterns of the place. You could see that it used to be a prison. Like one of the things is that like every classroom on the ground floor and the basement, every classroom had a sink and like a faucet set up, and that's because it already had the plumbing set up for prison cells.
Oh, good lord! Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember something else from. God, it's. I'm blanking right now. There was something else I was reaching. What was it?
It's all so long ago.
Oh my god, the courtyard. The courtyard. I don't. Okay, so like the courtyard wasn't part of like what was originally supposed to be the prison, right? It's just a square courtyard, but there was no way to get to it, right? So like it had windows overlooking it, but there were no doors. It was an interior courtyard with no doors to access it.
Just a hole. Then.
Yeah, just a hole in the middle of the school. Yeah. And I could never figure out like why they never like put indoors for it. But yeah, no, like just the school is just generally depressing to go to because I mean, first off, first off for like the early years of school, you're in the basement, all right? No sunlight.
Oh boy.
You are in the basement for like 7 hours of the day. And up here in Wisconsin, that means you go part of the year without seeing sunlight.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh, because you're coming into school before the sun rises, leaving after the sunset. Oh.
Yeah, all right. In your developmental years, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's
And then
not
on the
marvelous planning.
The first floor,
that might explain a few things.
The first floor had prison windows. All right. Now there were normal glass windows, but they were small. The type. Like they're designed
by
so that they couldn't be climbed out of. Yeah, ground floor.
Ground floor, yeah.
But yeah, so School memories, kids. Ugh. Yeah. All right, we got nothing else to go on. Then we can move to the next question.
Um,
You have nothing to top actual prison school.
um,
You're just like, well, you see, the school I went to used to be a burial ground for executed criminals.
no, I think most of the schools I went to used to be schools. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I think literally literally all of them used to be were purpose-built schools. The first school I went to was, yeah, it was built as a younger school for the older school. And then the second one, the second one after I moved to London was a big sort of Victorian school. So it was all very tall and tons of stairs. And then the third school I went to was split into the old the this is now for secondary school. The younger years were in a purpose-built block from the 60s that was all again purpose-built schools. But the bit for the older kids, so like year fifth form to upper sixth, so that's like 16 to 18. That actually did used to be like I think it was a previously like a dance hall before it was taken over in like 1914 to be a school. But yeah, so I don't think I ever played any pranks exactly. I wasn't. I was somewhat straight laced at school, not fully, but like I would have been too terrified to actually do any full on pranks.
I did remember that.
But
you go ahead. You guys, sorry.
No, best memories. None of them. No, there was some nice. There was some fun times. But I don't know. It's all sort of nothing really interesting to relate. No,
I did remember one. I did remember another prank, like actual prank I played back then. So like, do you guys do the same? Like, I'm trying to think. Do you guys have like ketchup packets over there? Like a little plastic packet that's filled with condiments. So you're supposed to tear it open, squeeze the stuff out.
I mean, we have those. I don't. Not in schools.
We had them in school. So like when I would be going through the lunch line, I would grab a couple of them, and then I would go to the bathrooms afterwards, and I would put a the toilet seats. They had like little bumpers on the bottom side of the seat.
No.
And so what you do is you put the packet under the bumper, so that when someone sits down on it, it ruptures and splatters their legs and pants.
Do you go for ketchup to make them think they're bleeding, or do you go for mayonnaise for a different effect?
Oh, I would go both, like mayonnaise for stink, ketchup for burns. Nah. I never witnessed the efficacy of my traps.
You didn't hang around long enough to find out.
No, of course not. I always fled the scene of the crime.
Fair enough.
All right. Who was your favorite teacher when you were in school? Probably not a good one. Like, we should avoid saying names, but I can already tell you I didn't really have a. I can't really say I had a favorite teacher. I didn't get along with most of them. Actually, another thing, I guess I did get along with my art teacher and my English teacher. I had I think it was my physics teacher one year. He just went off on one of my classmates and was basically going, "You're never gonna amount to anything. You are nothing. You're a worm," and all that shit. Like, he was just destroying this child. But he deserved it because he was a brat. He was a jerk. I did think of it though. Like, I think I did. I guess I did have a favorite teacher. It was my gym teacher. I'm not going to say her name. We'll call her Mrs. J.
Gym teacher? One of your favorite teachers was a gym teacher.
Physical education? I don't know what you guys call it.
Yeah, no. My point being that gym teachers are almost always fucking awful.
Well, no. So like she
in my experience,
it's because I have a good memory. So like one year we went on a skiing trip, right? And 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 she was the one who taught me how to ski. So, and
Oh,
she's very kind about it and everything.
wow.
And
Wow.
she took the
Wow.
time to do it.
Wow.
What was with you? I was a child at the time.
Sorry.
Anyways, um it was shortly after that she was diagnosed with cancer, and she
Oh.
passed away a while after that. But I remember,
Oh.
sorry, I'm choking up a little. Um, I remember when we were when we got the when we were told that she had cancer, and the teacher who was telling us about it, um, she told us to write some letters for her, but don't write any letters hoping she gets well soon or anything like that. Just
Oh.
reminder of happy memories and stuff. And so the letter I wrote for her was thanking her for the time that she taught me how to ski. Excuse me. Let's move on to another question. Were you in any clubs when you were in school? Um, I was in a reading club, I guess if that counts. We
Probably.
didn't. It wasn't at the school or anything. We met at the town library, not at the school's library. And now that I think about it, wasn't really much of a reading club, considering that when we would meet up there, we would play Wii. Like they had a Wii console for some reason. I don't know why the library had a Wii console. Yeah.
Why not? We had this um, really fun biology teacher. He was just actually he was like. Now I think about it, he kind of reminds me of David Jason. I don't know why.
Who?
Um, sorry.
Who's David Jason?
Uh, have you ever watched Only Fools and Horses?
No.
Oh, have you ever watched Frost? A Touch of Frost.
No.
Have you ever watched Danger Mouse?
No.
Oh, never mind. um, if Google Only Fools and Horses best bits, like put that into YouTube. And
I've heard of that, I believe. Only
he,
Fools. 1981 comedy, 7 seasons. Oh, there's David Jason. Jesus Christ, that guy's old. Well, I guess he's old now.
well, I think he's dead. He's dead now, but he was old towards the end of his life. But he was quite young when he was doing Only Fools and Horses.
No, he's still alive.
What? I thought he was dead.
No, he's alive and he's still an actor. He's still active.
Oh shit, he is. Why did I think he was dead?
Is Morgan Freeman still alive? That's something I'm wondering now.
I think he is. I haven't heard. I would have heard of his death.
Yeah,
Yes,
Morgan Freeman's only 86? I thought he was in his 90s.
I mean, 86 isn't far off 90.
Did you have any hobbies or interests as a child that you still have today? I'm gonna say I think that's just a flat no. Like, okay, so like when I was a kid, I was interested in Mars and bats, and I can't think of what else right now, but I had my phases, and they all died out. I mean, I'm still like tangentially interested in Mars just because I like space stuff, but like, and I like bats because I think they're cute. But beyond that, I can't think of any hobbies or interests I had as a child that survived today.
For my part, it's a definite yes. I mean, like when I was a kid, I was hugely into space. I'm even more so now. I was really into trains as a kid. I'm even more so now. I got into photography. 11 is a child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into photography when I was like 11, 12, and I'm even more into it now. I was into Irish dancing and Michael Flatley and stuff. I got into that when I was like 6 or 7, and ballet and dancing in general. I got into as a kid. I'm even more so into that now. Basically, I just took everything that I liked as a child and just turned it up to 11 as an adult, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously like video games. I mean, even video games I got into when I was like little, and now I'm actually playing bigger and better ones.
I wouldn't like. I
Um,
played video games when I was a kid too, but I just didn't really consider them like. I didn't consider the same because it's like I'm trying to think of how to say it. I'm into different video games than I was than what I played when I was a
that's
kid generally.
that's fair.
But yeah, I know like
I mean,
there's a similar
I think it's
question.
somewhat involved.
There's a question in a similar vein earlier about like what would you tell your younger self? And the thing is, like, I'm fairly certain my younger self is a completely different creature to what I am today. Right?
It's funny
There's
because
not much relation.
I feel like my younger self is just me with a few less years.
Yeah, like
I'm not entirely.
you went through a natural progression. I went through a metamorphosis.
Yeah, I mean, I just straight up think I haven't changed. I've just gotten more. I'm I, I'm just me as a kid, but just more intense. Realize more
I'm
and
even more immature than
get
I
more
was as a
stupid.
child.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I have
probably.
only become worse.
Yeah.
Anyways, uh next question, does your family have any customs or traditions? What do you think about them? The only tradition I can name off the cuff is a tradition of crippling alcoholism, and my opinion on it is I'm
Uh,
glad I'm not part of it.
yep, that's fair.
Uh,
Traditions and shit. No.
I'll also note that.
Going to
Go ahead.
no you
I was also going to note that my family also has a long tradition of criminal activity, exempting my father and
so you've mentioned.
my father and his father. And honestly, I'd say that they were probably the most miserable people in my entire family tree. Like it's, I guess we're just genetically we have a genetic
Predisposed to
predisposition towards
crime.
committing crime, and breaking away from that is what makes us miserable. Me, yeah, I'm not committing enough crimes. That's why I'm always depressed.
Definitely.
I need to go. I
It's
I need to not
just
say anything criminal on Twitch, or else I'll get banned. That's what I need to do.
pi- pirating anime isn't enough of a criminal activity to
Yeah,
make up for your blood yearns for dealing.
yeah. I need to smuggle guns and drugs.
Hmm.
Pirating Hasbro properties is no longer enough.
You need to firebomb the D&D
No,
offices.
I'm not Pipkin Pippa. Okay, I cannot get away with saying I'm gonna commit an act of terror.
Oh dear.
Okay, let's move on before we turn this into something
Oh yeah.
worse. Next question: do you have any funny or embarrassing memories from your childhood? I'm this came up
Oh
earlier.
fuck.
There was another
Oh no.
there's a similar question earlier. There's similar to this, so I'm just gonna repeat what I said earlier. I mean, I'll repeat it. I'm repeating it for you, for your benefit. So
Thank you.
like when I was a kid, my older sister was in basketball, and my dad would bring me to her games just to keep an eye on me. And so, I would spend like several hours a week just sitting at basketball games that I didn't want to be at. But at some point along the way, I ended up developing a crush on one of my sister's friends who was very tall. And
Ooh.
I think I actually
You
no, I think I
started early.
yeah yeah
I can see
me
where it came from.
my preference for taller older women is a long standing thing. But actually, I think I have
Yeah.
told you about this one before. Anyways, after one game, like I ran up to this girl, hugged her legs, and asked her to be my
Oh.
girlfriend, which
Oh.
mortified her and my sister. But our respective dads were just laughing about it. They found it hilarious.
Oh, that's adorable. Like she ought to have respected the hustle, frankly.
Yeah,
Like if she turned you down, then
respect
that's
the
her loss.
child 10 years younger than you asking to be in a relationship with you.
Oh, oh no. Um yeah, I mean I have shitloads of embarrassing stories, but I have actively repressed all of them because otherwise I would not sleep at night.
Just,
Um
all right, time to dredge up repressed memories, kids.
I genuinely like sometimes I have literally in the past like had flashes of, oh no, I'm about to repress some, I'm about to remember something. Quick, repress it, because I can feel it coming, and then it comes into the front of my brain, and I remember now. And I go, oh fuck, no, not that
Oh my,
time.
what the? Okay, I just pulled up
I
the
mean, it's
next.
not none of them is not none of them are actually that bad. It's just that I have a very
You're just very
I
sensitive
don't know.
about it.
Yes, yeah, literally, like any kind of social embarrassment, like even if literally the other person would have found it funny or hilarious, I would have felt horrible about it
Uh,
because I'm a sensitive boy.
Senso boy. I'm gonna pull up the next question because I, I'm gonna give the person the benefit of the doubt, but this feels like an asshole question. Did you have any friends as a kid?
I could tales I could spin, but you go first because you're the
No,
birthday boy.
I, I didn't. I didn't make friends easily as a kid, so I can't think of anyone notable. Like, I had one friend, I'm not gonna say his name for, doxing purposes, but basically, like, our entire relationship was just him constantly gaslighting my ass for a few years. Like, it was never
I
anything
bet.
serious, it was just always minor shit.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how it always starts out. Actually, no, so, like, after I graduated from school, like, he actually came by to visit one time, but, like, I don't really know how to describe it, but I like clammed up really bad, and so he ended up just like we just sat there in awkward silence for a while until he
Oh
left.
no.
I haven't talked to him since then.
Oh no. Like in primary school, I somewhat went through like I've often been through like phases of just having one friend at a time. Like I would have like my first friend, was pretty good, and like when we were like 3 to 5 or something, and
You're not gonna go down the list of every friend you had as a child, are you?
no, but then and I've sort of fell in love with his sister, and we were like boyfriend girlfriend, but we were like we were like 5, so it's not really boyfriend and
Yeah,
girlfriend, but we did like each other a lot. And
yeah. This
then
isn't a
and
Stephen
then I
King
had this
novel.
and then I had this and then the next guy I had as a friend was this really weird, probably autistic guy who was like he would always like dictate what we were going to
Mm-hmm.
what we were going to play in the playground, and it would always be related to things that I had no idea about, that he was very specifically into. Again, seemed looking back very
Very,
autistic.
very
And he
niche interests. Yeah.
well things like well I'm not actually really niche, but I forget. I don't think it was Pokemon, but think
It was
Pokemon.
it was some weird
But no,
off-brand
it was
Pokemon.
no, it was something else, something that some people were into, but I just wasn't. But he insisted we play, and he said that if I ever played with anybody else, he would stop being my friend. And I had to one time a couple of times I would like beg him like, could I please play with my old friend who was the old guy whose sister I had a
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
girlfriend with, and he eventually relented, but yeah, I I don't know why the fuck I put up with him, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then the next guy was this little kid who was into, he was sort of clearly had issues. He was very big into like James Bond and Indiana Jones and like
Oh, I
big
can't
into,
imagine
well,
someone being into Indiana Jones and James Bond.
no,
What a horrible dysfunctional creature that must be.
as in I also like those things, but he seemed like a psychopath in training. Like he liked the sort of he's like
Okay, yeah,
he
he just
likes
like
the murder of it. He would also be a bit of a prick to me as well, and like bully me a bit. And then I got this other friend who whilst being with that friend who we bonded by pretending to be Ewoks on Hoth or something. I don't know if I can remember.
Okay.
Well, because we were on this front field and it had loads of holes in it, and it was like being on Hoth or something. Not Hoth. Fucking the
Tatooine?
Planet Moon of Endor.
Oh.
That's the one. And but then he ganged up with this other friend, and there was a point at which when I was like 8 or 9, they started calling me fat, and I wasn't. They just
No,
said
they're
I
they're
was
calling
fat.
you fat with a PH. It's a different thing.
That didn't even exist back then. This was again. I follow the years, so it would have been about 2008, 2009ish. I was a bit pudgy, but I wasn't. I was no way fat, but they still called me fat anyway. And then, but like basically going to secondary school and meeting Xavier and finally finding someone who I just completely clicked with on a friend basis. Who it was like I can stop. I now have a friend who's not gonna turn on me or ditch me.
Yeah, who's not gonna gaslight
occasionally
you?
be a shit to me.
Someone's not gonna gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're in the last hour, which surprisingly means we need to speed things up a little bit.
The last hour, can't we keep this going till like 5 in the morning?
I've been sitting here for 3 hours. My back hurts.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
What were your favorite subjects in school? Did any of them contribute towards you becoming a VTuber? I can immediately tell you right now, nothing I did nothing in school contributed to me becoming a VTuber. Besides, like, unless you count like the stress, like giving me aneurysms and making me disabled. Like, I guess that counts. That contributed, but in terms of subjects, no. It does remind me of something stupid though. We had a computer class, and it was all Apple computers because the staff at the school were convinced that Apple was going to be the industry standard. I say as I am on my Windows computer.
Yeah.
Using non-Apple products for all of my modeling and editing.
Quietly hides my iPhone behind my back.
You traitor, I'll kill you.
I have a Windows PC though. I swear.
Well, of course you do. You play games.
I mean, we never properly did drama as like a subject, but we did occasionally do drama things, and that has led on to me being an actor. So I guess
I did have drama as like a subset of English literature. I was thinking of something else. I enjoyed physics class, and I hated Spanish with a passion, but I got along with the teacher surprisingly, and I actually led the class. Like, I distinctly remember, like, we were getting tests handed back one day, and someone's like, well, I fucked up on this. At least I didn't do it nearly as bad as Badger. And the teacher just turned and said, he did the best out of all of you.
Oh, dear. I remember one year for our final, we had like our sort of finals. So like at the end in secondary school, every end of year we had like a big, exam time to sort of prepare us for GCSEs and A-levels and shit. And I remember one year I got 100% in my RE exam, and everyone was like, "Yeah, of course Hugo got 100% in his RE exam."
Right, let's move it along.
To be fair, it was a very easy exam.
Were there any games, shows, or stories from your childhood that had a lasting effect on you? I can't really think of anything notable.
I'm just thinking, like, it really ought to be like Wind the Willows.
Yeah, like
of like Badger.
So like this is just such a broad thing to ask, honestly. Like I feel like we don't like I've it's not something I like consider often. I mean, the best answer I think I can give is that like I grew up on like old Scandinavian and Germanic stories mostly, like just because of my family's heritage.
Yeah.
And the one that is coming to my mind, the one that comes to my mind right now is this story about I'm trying to remember it right now. It's about like it's kind of like an inverse of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. It was like a gang of seven trolls came to like every night they go to this woman's house and they're like rattling the door and smacking the windows and stuff every night. And then
Average 4chan users.
okay, but anyways, one night, there's this guy traveling, a skier, and he has a pet polar bear with him. And
Oh.
I forget where the guy and the
Wow.
woman go off to, but they're out of the house over the night. But the polar bear stays behind, and it's sleeping inside the house. And the trolls come back, and they manage to get into the house, and they're like ransacking the place and everything. And one of the trolls finds the polar bear sleeping, and it takes a hot coal and puts it on the polar bear's nose, which wakes it
Aw.
up, and the polar bear mauls the trolls
Just
to death.
fucking murders everyone.
Yeah, well, it chases the trolls out of the house, and so the woman and the guy get back, and
Chases the trolls out of the house, being children's
Ah,
book code.
I'm
slaughters all of them.
I'm dog whistling my viewers right now. This is the code words, the code phrase. Go commit acts of terror. No. Anyways, so like later on, the woman is out.
No, I just mean like it's a child friendly way of saying the polar bear murdered them all. Because we all know Goldilocks didn't end with Goldilocks just running away. She got hacked. She got.
Oh yeah, she got murdered by the bears. But anyway, so like the man and the woman, they get back to the house and blah blah blah. Another day, the woman's out gathering in the forest, and one of the trolls approaches her and asks her about the big cat that she owns, and she says that the cat had a litter of kittens, and they're already growing as big as her and stuff like that. And so then the trolls never came back because they didn't want to tangle with the polar bear again, much less a whole group of them.
You know what? Relatable.
Relatable.
I wouldn't want to tangle with a fucking polar bear either.
Also, like, what kind of an asshole do you have to? Well, of course you have to be a troll, but like, putting a burning coal on an animal's nose while it's sleeping. What do you expect to happen?
I do want to see this translated into green text now.
Be me, troll. Break into house. Find weird big cat. Put a coal on its nose. It fucking murders me and my 6 friends. Okay, let's move on to another question.
When you said it's like the opposite of Snow White, it's just... Actually, the tale of Snow White is basically modern California. It's a hot liberal woman and her beta male or 7 beta male orbiters living in one house.
I thought of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs just because of the number 7 coming up. Honestly, that's really what it clicked for me. Okay,
Snow White and the Snow White and the 7 manlets.
Do you have any particular accomplishments that you're proud of?
No.
Man, yeah, nothing. We have accomplished nothing in our lives. We are sad people.
I've taken there are quite a few photos that I think are really good that I've taken that really ought to have fucking won the competition. You fuckers! I was robbed. I'm
gonna commit an act of terror. This is how Hitler started out. He got denied from art school.
Oh no.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be bringing Hitler up a second time in a stream.
That's bad form.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move away from that.
Let's move on.
Do you have any hobbies besides video games and VTubing? Well, Hugo, what are your hobbies besides VTubing?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing anyone knows you for. That you're just a VTuber, right? You're like it's not even that you do anything as a VTuber. You're just a VTuber, right?
I just it's on my spotlight card.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies, Badger? Well, apart from shooting.
Okay, well now there's nothing. Now there's nothing to talk about. You just killed the last hobby I have.
Sorry.
So like I actually do like, I don't know if it's really a hobby at this point. It's a chore, but like I've done animal care for most of my life. Like I grew up around animals, and so like that's Yeah, I don't really know how to carry that one on. Yeah, I grew up around animals in a city called Detroit. No,
That's nice.
no,
I wish.
I've actually never been to Detroit, thankfully.
Good.
But no, like I've grown up, actually raising animals. Like that's been my
Yeah.
as early as I can remember. I've lived around dogs and cats and farm animals and such.
That sounds lovely. I wish I had more exposure to animals. I need furry things to pet. I'm sad. Yeah. So you know what? Someday I will force you to get into photography. It worked with Xavier. Um,
I
I
don't.
literally we spent years like I was the photographer and everything, and then
Mhm.
suddenly I was just like, "Hey, Xavier, here's one of my old cameras filled with film. You're gonna do photography now." And he was like, "Okay." And then suddenly, because we both have tendencies, he just became obsessed with it overnight, and we're now both
You
fucking photography
you
nerds.
you gaslighted him
Um,
into being a photographer hobbyist like yourself.
exactly, because I
I
needed someone to be able to
that's
talk with it about, you know.
that's basically one of my other friends like asked me about one time because like I would talk to him about guns and stuff and like one day like we're talking about guns. He's like, "Wait, did you teach me all this stuff just so you would have someone to talk about guns with?"
I mean, literally, yeah, you got it. So
Anyways,
now he literally just we're the sort of people who can't do things by halves, you know.
yeah.
We have to get madly obsessed about things, or
All
not
right.
good at all.
Uh, have you
Well,
ever
I
had a?
will. This is a threat, Badger. I will make you like photography,
I just don't.
or
Okay.
just at least obsessed with cameras. I will make you. You won't be able to resist the pull.
Have you ever had a challenging moment in your life, and how did you overcome it? Every day in my life is a challenge.
Oh.
Um, that was supposed to be a joke. God damn it.
Uh,
I can't think of anything offhand. Like that, a big problem with this Q&A stuff is that with my memory problems, it's hard for me to like recall memories.
maybe you should have, prepared answers.
Well, the whole point of this is that I'm supposed to be answering or like I already spent a
Yeah.
lot of time sorting through these. All right.
When you're on the spot, it's hard to. I have the same thing. When you're forced to think of something, it's like I know that I have plenty of good answers to this. I just can't think of
I,
fucking
I,
any of
I was
them right
expecting
now.
to be done with the Q&A thing before you showed up. Actually, I was gonna spend the last 2 hours of the thing like with the hand cam thing I set up. I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Well, you don't have to answer all of them if you think they're
Well, okay,
shit.
we're in the last stretch. Okay, we're at question 69 of 75.
All right.
All right, so I have no idea how to answer this. I'm sorry, whoever asked it. Next question. God, why are these all such heavy questions? Why can't we have some easy ones? All right, next question is: do you have any goals for the
You're meant to
future?
be you're meant to be vulnerable and open to your audience, Ben.
So my plans for the future, hopefully for my channel to grow bigger, so I can start making money from it. Like, I am sorry, people. Like, I do this because it's something I enjoy doing, but I'm also doing it for money. Like, I'm gonna be upfront about that.
Yeah. No, that's obvious. It's got to be a thing.
Um,
So everybody, go support Badger.
yeah, go to the Patreon right now. Give me money. Give me money,
And
my little
Badger,
pay pigs.
just be more entertaining.
Yeah, man.
It's easy.
Why didn't I think
Just
of that?
get good,
Just
get good
be more
stuff.
entertaining. Just draw more smut and put it on my Patreon. Why didn't I think of that?
Just become a furry art commissioner.
God. Okay,
Oh
let's
no.
wrap up these
moving
last.
on, moving on, moving on.
But anyways, question: what do you do in your free time besides video games and content creation? I guess gun hobby stuff, but like a lot of the time I'm usually resting because I have health issues. I won't go too much into them, but like including the back pain. So
Hmm.
like that does mean I spend a lot of time having to lay down.
You watch much YouTube or anything? No.
Yeah, sometimes. That's the weird thing about becoming a content creator is you start to dislike like the content, the style of content that you produce.
Do you watch any terrestrial TV?
What?
Do you watch any like actual terrestrial TV?
What's
Like
terrestrial
proper
TV?
like normie TV, like
No, no.
television, as
I
opposed to like
I
YouTube.
I hate everything on the air nowadays. Like anything, any mainstream concept you can think of, I hate it.
Yeah, that tracks. That sounds like that's a very bad answer.
But anyways, next question. Is there a particular place you've always wanted to visit? And I've had a few questions like this earlier, and the fact is, like, besides there's nowhere in the world I really want to go. Like besides just visiting my mom more often or being able to visit with friends, there isn't a location I want to go. Like I don't want to go to
Not. You sure you don't? You don't? It's not London, England.
I don't care about London. I care about visiting you. Like that would be
Oh,
cool. But London itself, I don't give a shit
yeah,
about. Like I care about the people, not the location.
that's fair. I mean, London is a good place to visit. There's a
Ah.
lot. There's a lot to
I
do. Quite
recall
nice.
your statement once upon a time that a nuclear detonation would improve London.
I didn't really mean it. London. Honestly, 100% honest. London is a fantastic place. It's just it has gone downhill in more recent years. Certainly in certain parts of it, but there's some absolutely wonderful like areas. There's some fantastic architecture. So there's some great sort of just places to hang out, and there's some absolutely beautiful areas. It is well worth a visit. Just steer clear of uh, Croydon, Whitechapel, and
All right.
various other places.
Next one. Have you ever gone anywhere for a vacation? Where did you go and what did you do? Um, I've been a few different places. Like despite the fact that I don't like traveling and I don't have anywhere I want to go, my parents have dragged me along to a lot of different places for different vacations. Um,
Anywhere outside the US?
no, I've never left the country.
Not even Canada.
No,
Mm.
I'm a Whistler go see in Canada.
Okay.
I've been out to South Dakota, northern Minnesota, uh, Arizona.
Oh,
Uh, went to Florida. I went to the Archway. I believe that's in Louisiana. I've been to a lot of places that end in A.
there's quite a few places that end in A in the US. To be fair,
Yeah.
the US of A. It is. That is why they call it that. Arizona. I would love to see that. I've been thinking a lot at the moment. I'd love to go on a like a because I've been watching this channel called Grainy Days who do like
Hmm.
photography content where it's like film photography. So on film rather than on digital. And it's this guy who like he often does these long videos where he does road trips across the rural US and
Hmm.
takes pictures on like sometimes he'll take like he'll often take like a 35mm camera and a medium format camera, and he's got some great and shoots off rolls of stuff, and or sometimes he'll take his large format, literally like the fucking bellows cameras, like take them and he'll
Okay.
like take photos of abandoned buildings. It's great. It's so atmospheric. It's great shit. I recommend it even if you're not into photography. But it's been making me think about how much I'd love to go and see like rural America, and I for a long time, especially playing Fallout New Vegas, I really want to see like the Colorado River and the sort of the Grand Canyon and all of that sort of like rural like Nevada and Arizona and the desert and shit, and up into like Utah and Zion Canyon. Like, I mean, Old World Blues is still my favorite DLC, but Honest Hearts is so good because it's just such a fucking beautiful location. It's so lovely.
Let me tell you something about the Grand Canyon. It's a really big fucking hole.
It's your mama's ass. Sorry,
but it's simultaneously like stunning and disappointing at the same time. Like, I need you to understand, like, it's a big hole that makes itself the horizon, is the best way I can think of to describe it.
I think it's just about seeing just the hugeness of it, the vastness of it.
Like, I'm trying to express the fact that, like, this thing is large enough to show you the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, that sounds fucking cool.
Because, like, if you're standing on one side of it, you can't see anything on the surface on the other side of the Grand Canyon. All you see is the wall.
Yeah, that sounds cool as shit.
But it's also still just a really big
fucking crack in the earth.
No, it's not a crack. It's not a crack. Like, that's the thing people always, like, that's the bad thing with a lot of the interpretations of it, is, like, showing it as, like, a narrow canyon that's just really deep. It's a big fucking hole.
Cracks don't have to be narrow. Just look at your mum.
Oh my god.
Sorry. I got a second one in. No, yeah, it's... and what's all that stuff, all like the big pillars and shit.
Yeah, there's, like... I can't think of what they're called right now, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of my answers for the previous question is Wisconsin, because I want to come see. I want to come and see you and shoot. Excuse me. Oh dear, this is the trouble.
Yeah, you're already fitting around here. You're burping from all the beer you're drinking. You're drinking so much beer that the alcohol poisoning's killing your ability to have an erection.
Oh no. No, please. I won't be able to. Oh no, I'm not going to make any jokes. Yeah, it'd be really nice to see rural America and also to shoot guns at you. I mean, with you.
The thing with the Wisconsin, you have to consider, like, the northern half of Wisconsin is almost entirely forest. Like, it's split up with some roads and there's some towns out there, but it's all just flat forest.
Sounds like a great place to take photos.
I think one of the guys on the Seabowl server actually, I think he might have been in northern Minnesota, but it's largely similar terrain. Like, it was that picture of that forest, and because the ground's flat, it just kept going. Like, but if you're taking pictures in southern Wisconsin, we have a lot of, like, valleys and what's the term for it again? There's a lot of, like, rolling hills, but there's also cliffside hills where there's just sheer drop-offs, and you can see, like, the face of the rock and everything.
That sounds cool.
I'll try and take a picture of it sometime if I can remember it.
It'd also be nice to just go around and photograph little, small towns, and there's not many people. That sounds fun.
Next question, and once again, I'm going to give the questioner the benefit of the doubt, even though this sounds like kind of a jerk question. Do you have any talents? Like, I want to say that they're asking, hey, are there any neat little tricks you do? But it feels like someone's asking, hey, are you, like, just a talentless hack?
Are you actually good at anything, or are you completely useless?
I mean, I have to have in terms of, like, skills, I do have to have a few talents for being a VTuber, because, like, I have to like make my model and everything.
Yeah, you are personable. You are funny.
Well, thank you.
You can communicate just about. No.
Yeah, I can almost communicate. So, like, the only
people.
But I mean, you do, like, dance and acting, don't you? So, like, you have some
all that
traditional talents.
I'm just an extrovert who likes wiggling my metaphorical dick in people's faces.
So yeah, I'm very introverted, which is odd considering I'm an entertainer on a public platform.
honestly, that does seem to be quite a big thing on YouTube. It's like that there do seem to be you're more the norm than the what's the word? Um what's the fucking word I'm thinking of? The exception. That's fuck me.
I'm the rule rather
Um
than the exception. I'm just
yeah,
I'm unique just like everyone else.
no, I mean like it does seem to be a big thing on the internet of people like introverts who
Hmm.
use it as their outlet for expressing themselves because you don't have to directly be in front of anybody, but you can sort of put it out into the ether, and it's a nice way to be able to be out there without being out there. And I think that's one
I
of the
mean,
good things of the
I
internet.
mean, I do know that is very common with VTubers. It's because like we don't like showing our faces, and for some reason, so I removed one of the image. Hold on, actually, I'm gonna try fixing my
I
image
think
slide because it keeps getting this like black
I think it's
screen.
generally quite common with just YouTubers and Twitch streamers in general. Because I mean, obviously, some of them do show their faces, but a lot of them, even some of the people who show their faces, it started out just being like faceless, doing just or not even talking, just making content because they didn't want
There
to
we go.
put their actual selves out there, but they wanted to put their work out there and show what they could do. And yeah,
All right. We're actually
it's
we're actually on the last question now, and it's not a big one. Do you have a favorite food?
I thought it was. Oh no! Oh no! The badger food question.
No,
Help!
I
The alarm's going off.
I'm
He's gonna
sorry.
say frozen pizza.
No,
So
I hate to disappoint whoever wrote this question, but the fact is, I actually don't like food. Like I have this thing where I don't like the flavor or texture of basically any food, so I try and just get like I'm typically going for like bland stuff in an attempt to just have something I can like eat without like
yeah,
getting sick.
because people do clown on you a lot in Siebel for it, but it sounds like you have a genuine condition because that is not normal. Like literally everything tasting like ash in our mouth. That is a I don't know if it's a neurological condition or
No.
like uh, something is wrong with your taste buds, but I mean, it could be neurological. It could be that there's some pathway that's like not translating and it's just
I
registering everything as wrong.
Probably it. Like I've already
Um,
got a lot of issues of like my body chemistry is incorrect, and I also just have a lot of like neural. I'm trying to think what the term for it would be. I have a lot of neurological issues with like body control. That makes it sound like I shit myself constantly,
yeah, I was gonna say
uncontrollably.
that sounds
No, I don't
incontrovertible.
have that issue, thank God. But like, I'm trying to
Badger
think.
constantly pissing in his set, you know.
I'm trying to think of how to say it. Basically, like the so like, as an example, like um, an example uses opiates. Like my body doesn't metabolize them for whatever reason.
Oh,
Which
that's
like I'm glad to know that I will never have a heroin addiction, but it also means that there's a lot of anesthetics that don't work on me.
yeah, that's not if you ever need major surgery, like morphine would just not fucking work. That's not terribly useful.
I
I
mean,
mean, it is useful in some ways, but it's kind of a that's what the fuck is wrong with you, Betcha? I mean, not you I mean you personally, but also like how does all of this go wrong? I guess it's just you're like a lightning rod for bad luck.
yeah,
I guess
I'm just
you
I'm
just
just
attract the medical conditions.
I'm just a what would be the term? I'm just a snowball of bad genetics, which is ironic considering my mom is an Olympic athlete and uh, a doctor 3 times over.
Maybe your dad's genes are just
Oh
so
yeah, no, my
bad.
dad's a fucking
It's just
Neanderthal.
so it just oh that's Yeah, because like obviously
Yeah,
the
the only
long-toasted
reason I even exist
garlic
is because
bread.
my
Oh,
mom's genes managed to like scrape
managed to
together
pull you
something
back from the edge. Yeah,
out of my dad's horrible uh mutant genes.
because the whole frozen pizza and garlic thing is funny, but like everything tasting like ash sounds like awful. Like that sounds like a really I'm sorry. That sounds not fun at all.
uh Anyways, that's our last question for the Q&A. The Q&A segment that I was expecting to take 2 hours, it turned into actually no. So like I was most of the way done when you showed up, and then you turned the last few questions into an hour and a half of content, which
That's what I don't know why, but we have this dynamic where it doesn't happen with anyone else, or maybe it does, but I
we
just
just
haven't
have
met them yet. I just I filibuster with you. I don't know why. I just take everything and throw it off into some million-hour long conversation.
we're a good podcast team.
Yeah,
Honestly,
we should
it would have
record
been
more of those.
it would have been better if you had been around for the earlier questions, but I didn't want to just start over with them because then we would still be going through
No,
them
of
by
course not.
now.
Yeah.
But we still have like 20 minutes left, which means I am gonna see if I can pull something together because I'm gonna get my desk camera on once I throw on some gloves to hide my identity so no one can identify me by my hands.
Is that
Yes, it's a thing. It's actually a thing with VTubers. Like people will actually like they'll analyze like when it's like when a VTuber just does a barehanded hand stream. Like people will actually like look at the details on their hands and then try to match it up with pictures they find on the internet.
fuck me?
Like for like
Some people have no life.
yeah, it's like by becoming a VTuber, that's how you get the weirdest stalkers.
Yes, I can see that.
Anyways,
Whereas I just oh fuck me, excuse me. Whereas my streams are just me fucking showing off my big fat face.
so give me a half second. I'm gonna go grab the things I'm gonna be doing for show and tell. Give me a second.
All right, so it's now time for me to hijack Badger's stream and keep you entertained? Question mark. I don't know. Go and subscribe to my channel. Go and follow
I'm not sure where to set all these.
twitch.tv/.
Give me a second. I
Singleton
don't have my
Gaming.
headset back on. Actually, yeah, I'll just pile everything in my lap.
That's all right. I'm just chilling.
I'll just pile everything in my lap.
twitch.tv/Singleton Gaming.
I have my headset on now. I can hear you trying to plug your shit.
Oh, sorry.
I'll destroy you. Okay, I actually need.
I was just trying to keep your stream activated, entertained whilst you were AWOL. There we go.
Why didn't I think of that earlier? Okay, now you should. Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yeah, wave in front of it. Yeah, nice.
Nice. There we go. Okay, so like this is just a knife I bought because it was like $5 at the store.
Cool.
Oh,
it's got a bit of a curve to it.
Yeah, so it's got. I don't really know. I know knives, but I don't know what this little curve is for. I think it's just for
It helps hacking.
Yeah, it just helps for like pressing for when you do a press cut into something.
Yeah.
That it does help with that. And there's a little bit of a groove
so you
here.
get more downward force into the thing.
A little bit of a finger groove. And the thing I like about it is that it is a full tang. So you can see the blade, it goes all the way through the handle. I love it when they do this. Like this is my favorite type of knife grip.
Because it'll probably be properly
Yeah, no, it's
secured,
very
it's not
strong.
gonna fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get a full grip on when you're gripping, you're holding the actual blade, and then
it's not just that. It's also just means that the blade's not likely to just break off because it's not mounted properly.
Yeah. It's not gonna fall. It's not gonna fall out or loose. Get loose.
This is just a basic folding knife that I just have around my house. I don't know how it ended up here. I just have it. You can flip it open. It's a little bit tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to get it open. Other times it will open just because I move it too quickly, and I don't like that.
Oh, that
I
that's
don't.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
fucking dangerous.
The second thing I don't like a lot of folding knives do is I'm trying to figure out the camera. So you see that little bar is what holds the blade open. So
Oh,
I have to put
yeah.
my finger in the way of the blade to close it. I don't.
Oh,
That's very standard, but I don't like that design at all. I hate when
that's
knives that do that.
fucking poorly designed, motherfucker.
On the flip side, we have my
Hey,
normal,
on the flip side.
this is my typical belt knife. It's very small, but it's just very handy for just everyday tasks. All right, like
Oh yeah.
this does everything that I typically need in a day. Like when I'm looking at some like heavier work around the farm, I might carry this knife, but usually it's just this little thing, and I like it a lot. It's another full tang knife, and
What sort of things might you be doing with it on a
honestly,
daily
I
basis?
mostly use it to cut boxes.
Right. Yeah. Just
Like cut twine,
yeah.
cut boxes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, it is a little
I just
tricky getting
pull
it
with my
back into
feet.
the sheath just because of all the snap buttons on it.
Yeah. Oh, oh yeah, that's
It's very secure. Now this is completely scuffed.
Oh
I got
God.
some tape wrapped around
Oh,
the sheath because the blade started cutting into the sheath and cutting it apart. And then I just have this.
are you planning on becoming an African warlord at any point?
And then I just have this like strap here tying it down because the strap for it broke off. But I really like this one. I got it for $5, and this is like conventional like
Yikes.
hiking or fighting knife. I don't like the I forget what these are called now. I just forgot it.
Serrations.
Yeah, serrations on the back here. They can't actually cut anything, and they just get in the way. So like when I get a grind wheel that's up to the task, I'm just gonna grind all that down. But otherwise, this is a very, very nice knife. Once again, another full tang, so it's all just one piece of metal, and the grip is pinned into it. And it's very good. Like as you can see, I can get a good grip on it and still have a lot of length to work with.
Giggity.
Put this away.
Put your big length back into the sheath.
Yeah, and then this is a little
Oh
awkward
no,
having.
you need to get a knife sheath that does like an anime girl moan whenever you put the knife in.
God, no, no. Okay, I'm having trouble finding spots to put these knives. I'm gonna throw it on the floor.
Just, tuck it up your prison pocket.
This one is one of my this is my nice knife. I'm actually gonna take these knives and just throw them off on the floor too. Just get them out of the way.
Yeah, that won't come back to bite you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw the flip knife that opens on its own. I'm not throwing that one.
Oh my grandmother does a lot of sewing, and occasionally she's like, "Oh, one of my needles is gone," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, it's on the floor." Oh no.
Anyways,
Grandma, you got to be careful.
this is
like, oh no, if it's the fucking folding knife that just flips out, you just go, "Ah fuck, I don't have a foot anymore."
so this is like a dress knife, but I don't use it much because these buttons can tear out at a second. Like it's not a good sheath for this thing.
Would you put any of these knives in your stocking at a formal dinner party?
What?
Dirks? No.
In your stocking?
Scottish formal dress, when you're wearing, when the Scots, when they're wearing the full kilt and everything, they have the
okay. No, I wouldn't put this in a sock. No, I wear this on my belt.
They keep their dirks in their stocking because Scots.
Now this
they're ready for betrayal at any time.
Now this is called a concealed tang since you can't see it anywhere. But you can tell.
It still goes through.
Yeah, no. If you shake it, you can tell that the tang goes all the way to the pommel.
Yeah.
Now, if it's stuck out the pommel, that would be more reassuring, but it doesn't. Now, just being very careful to put this away again. And I'm not going to throw it on the floor because that is my dress knife. And this is my other dress knife, though this one's bigger and a bit more well put together.
Yeah, that's
that
a
one's
really
just a
nice.
side knife. This is a Bowie knife.
Oh yes, yeah,
And once again, full tang, just the way I like it.
very
It
nice.
even has a
That is a,
proper like finger guards on it.
ah,
So this is a proper fighting knife.
yeah. I'm so glad you have such such an arsenal. Um, please don't ever get angry with me.
All right.
Uh,
Now, in the all right, let me
that
just
is a very attractive knife, though.
yeah, it's
Like
a very nice knife.
very paintings, marvelous.
Paintings. What?
Sorry, I'm doing a scout mission.
What? What are you doing?
I'm doing a scope mission for the casino heist in GTA.
Can't believe you splitting your attention like this. Anyways,
I mean,
now this
GTA doesn't take much of my attention.
this is a fancy little thing. This is actually
Ooh.
this was actually made in France. My brother-in-law gave me this as a present.
Ho, he, ho.
Now it's very simplistic, but also pretty interesting how they do things. So there's a little like I can't think of how to arrange this on the camera. All right, so there's this little thing on top that turns around, and that's how you unlock the blade, and then pull it out,
And then pull it out.
and then
Clever.
turn it again to lock the blade in place. Now this is a
Very nice.
very very thin blade, so I usually use this like when I'm sewing, to cut threads and such.
All right.
So I don't use this for much tooling. I'll just turn it and put it away in its little leather holder thing. And now, my last knife.
Oh boy. Gracious.
This is a kukri.
fucking weapon.
This is I
Kukri, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a kukri. I got this for $5 as well, I believe. So once again, full tang. I really like full tangs. I'm glad this one has it. Like this is such a great one. Little
So
bit of a
there's
finger
just-
guard, not much. This is really just to stop your hand from slipping up. And I almost stabbed my monitor just now, like trying to show that.
There's this sort of joke in the vintage and film camera community where you like show off your really like your beautiful vintage Leica M3, that and you say, oh yes, and I got it for $5 at a thrift store,
Yeah, no, I really did get this for $5 at not really the gun store I go to. I frequent,
yeah.
not a thrift store, but still. The only annoying thing about this is that the sheath has no belt loop. How am I supposed to carry this thing around?
Add one yourself.
I've tried that, but I can't figure any good way out. And now I'm just reach for this one. This isn't even a knife. I'm just gaslighting you now.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, this is my cold steel battle axe. I use it as a trail hatchet.
Fair.
Yeah, this is nice because so it's not very big axe head for in terms of fighting axes, but it is still like you got some good edge on there, and so as you can see, the beard actually I need to bring it. I keep forgetting where my camera can see. You need to bring if you choke up on it like this, then the beard here that can protect your hand, and you can do what's called punching.
Oh gosh, yeah. Just
And the horn, it gives you a little bit of stabbing potential, but not very much. I'm surprised my Twitch stream has not been banned yet. Me on here telling you how to stab people with an axe.
I mean, I don't think they're probably paying too much attention to you.
All right, I'm gonna go grab a few other things. I'll be back in a moment.
Just check.
All right. Okay, I'm back now.
There's gold.
I like.
Always believe in your soul. Sorry. Hello.
Okay, so I guess there wasn't a reaction to me just setting the gun down.
Oh fuck! There it is.
All right, now.
Don't shoot me.
So yeah, this is I really like this one. This is this is my Nagant revolver, model
Yes.
1895, and so it's a single double action revolver, which means that you can either. Oh, I almost got. I'm not used to wearing gloves while handling these, so I almost got the glove stuck in the hammer there. So I can either manually pull the hammer back, or I can pull the trigger to pull the hammer back, and I'm not going to do that all the way. I'm just going to do it part way.
Yeah, because it's one of those gun safety things where even if you know it's not loaded, you treat it
Yeah,
as
even
if it's loaded.
I mean, not just that, but like if you, so like the way the hammer works is like if it has nothing to land on in the chamber, it just slams into the frame, and so you can end up breaking it.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is actually very simple gun to disassemble. Just I say simple, but I'm wearing gloves right now, so it's a little awkward. And like that, it's done.
That's all the
This is typically how I disassemble it for cleaning and such.
right. Yeah.
And some people will actually do this for like swapping out the cylinders, because otherwise you have to change each chamber individually. If you carry a spare cylinder on you,
yeah.
you can just pull the cylinder out, load a new one.
That's clever.
Just a little bit
going
finicky getting it back in there, though.
With a chink, with a chink, with a chink. You just take it out. Clump.
Oh no! So like, it's worse than that, because like the way the gun works is the cartridges, the casings expand inside the chamber to make a gas seal. Oh, I gotta take this out of the camera for a moment because it's really not wanting to fit into its spot. But yeah, because the casings expand, they get really stuck in there, and they conform to the shape of the chamber, so it can get really hard to take them back out. Anyways, that was the Nagant. This is the Godless Serb pistol, that almost killed me the other day because it cycled and fired itself while I was inspecting it.
Huh?
And oh god, it was giving me trouble even then. So like, I'll show you how it disassembles. We just gotta pull the side pin. Is it focusing? I can't tell. There we go. Okay, that should be good. So the side pin, I just pulled this out, and so now we can knock out this, which is both the lever to hold the slide open, and it's also the pin that holds the slide in. And now we just drop the whole slide off.
Oh yeah, gracious.
The barrel can also be taken out. I'm not going to bother doing that right now. So I'm just going to put this back together. And I'll show you what the gun was doing. I'm not going to put a cartridge in this because I don't feel like I don't want it to go off while I'm, sitting at my desk.
Yeah,
typically a gun will not just go off on its own, but this thing proved otherwise, so I'm not trusting it anymore. So what I was doing with this was while I was working with it, I wanted to test the magazine to see if it was going to snag again when I put it. So I put in a loaded magazine, and then I hit the magazine release right here. But when I did that the other day, what happened was when I hit the magazine release, the magazine stayed in, and the slide just slammed back, and then slammed forward, and the hammer went off and fired the gun.
At what?
Into the air, thankfully.
All right, so you were outside doing this.
Well, yeah, yes, I was outside target shooting.
Okay, so you were outside actually target shooting. You weren't trapping indoors beforehand.
No, yeah. Thank God this didn't happen indoors.
Yeah, fuck me.
Roof repairs are a bitch. All right, now we got ye old big iron.
Hey.
This is a reproduction Colt Navy chambered in .44 caliber. It's a black powder cap and ball gun. So as you can, let me give this thing the same treatment. There we go. All right, so as you can see on the back of this, you have these anvils. That's where you put the cap, and then you load the powder and the ball in the front. Though you typically want to load the powder and the ball and then load the caps, so that the caps don't go off while you're loading the powder.
I'm seeing the powder is in some sort of container. You're not just pouring.
Yeah. So like I don't have it on me right now, but the powder I keep it in a flask, clear one. So like what you do is, maybe I should. I'm not gonna go get it. It's in another room. But basically, what you do is, the flask has a release on it and a nozzle. So what you do is you cover the nozzle with your finger, and then you turn the thing over, open it, so that you catch the powder with your finger, and then you close the nozzle, and then you can dump in that measured amount.
Right. Okay. So it does. The powder does just go in just as
You
powder.
you just dump in it, like if you are planning on shooting right now, you just dump the powder in loose. Um, if you're gonna be storing this for a while, what you want to do is you want to have like some beeswax or something, or some grease. You put the powder in, you put some beeswax or grease in, and then you put the bullet in. And the way you put the bullet in, I have to reassemble the gun quick. I have to put in the pin that holds the thing together, which is a little son of a bitch. Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm having to lean forward so much to make sure I have this in frame. All right, so this comes down as your lever, and you use it to load bullets, to push the bullet down into the chamber.
Right.
Now, this one is a single action revolver, so that means you have to pull the hammer back every time you want to fire. You also have a half cock position where you can now freely turn the cylinder, and that's what you usually do
Play
for
Russian roulette.
I mean, you could, I guess, but it's very easy to tell which chamber is loaded, so.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then at full cock, it automatically lines up one of the chambers.
Full cock.
Yeah, full cock. It automatically lines up one of these chambers, and you're good to go.
Bang. Yeah.
I'm once again running out of space here. I'm gonna have to put that there.
Just your arsenal building up around the edges. Oh shit.
This is my other big iron, a Taurus Judge, 45 long Colt, and 410. This has a swing out cylinder that can take. I'm trying to figure out how to hold this for the camera. It can take 5. Camera, where are you? Okay, well that's.
But the trouble is the handle is blocking the light.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so yeah, 5-shot cylinder, and it just swings out, so it's very easy to load and unload. Yeah. This one is also a double single, so you can pull it for a very light trigger pull, or you can pull the trigger and it operates the whole thing. Now, typically, a Taurus Judge cuts off at around here, but this is the 6.5-inch barrel, I believe it is. So as one of my friends joked, this is for shooting muggers that are 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
In truth, this is more of a sporter model, like sport and hunting, whereas the shorter model is the one typically used for self-defense. Right. You could use this for home defense, but for like everyday carry, this wouldn't work out. It's just too much length on this thing.
So I've been told that as well.
No one's ever told you that.
Oh.
All right. Still have a few more to go through. Here's my fucking boomer ass gun.
Oh yeah.
This is my High Point 45 auto. My Glock 40, my problem solver. It's in. I keep it in.
What the fuck? That's loaded.
Yeah. No. Chamber's empty.
Chamber's empty, but the magazine is loaded.
Oh yeah, no, magazine's loaded. Yeah, I like to shoot steel cased, copper jacketed full metal jacket rounds. People say like for like home and self defense you should use like hollow points and stuff like that. I use full metal jacket for better like barrier penetration. Like okay, in most situations
just to fuck up the robber as much as possible.
Well, no. So like it's like hollow point would expand better and give you a better wound channel. Jacketed rounds, they're better at penetrating cover, and they can't penetrate body armor. They're never gonna accomplish that. But if someone's like has his hand up, like if he's aiming at you, he's gonna have both of his hands up like this probably if he's shooting correctly.
Yeah.
So like let's say you hit his arm, and I can't show that because there's just not enough space on the game. Well, let's say like so like put your hand out and just imagine like a bullet hits you on the arm somewhere, like coming towards you. And it then travels through you. Now, if it was hollow point, it would expand and it would fuck up your arm pretty bad, but it wouldn't reach any of your vital organs.
Whereas
A jacketed round will go all the way down and then hit
your
you.
chest.
Yeah. And it's also if
Fuck.
like if someone hides behind the couch or something, I can just shoot through it and hit them. But also I have this isn't a this is a bulldog holster, which everyone yells at Bulldog. They say it's like shitty boomer bait. The fact is, Bulldog is the only company I could find that made a holster that can fit this thing.
Because it's a boomer. You got to get a boomer ass holster for boomer ass gun.
This is a giant handgun. I cannot express this, and it's not because it's in 45. Well, it's because it's in 45 auto, but that's because their solution to firing such a big cartridge is let's just make the slide heavier. Let's just use physics.
Oh yeah, yeah. It does look a bit unbalanced. Is probably the
Like-
nicest way to put it.
I'm actually fine with the weight and balance of it. Like it feels fine to me. But just to compare,
I don't mean I mean like visually unbalanced. Like it looks like the slide and the bottom of the cartridge is just too big.
like look at this. Look at a
Yeah.
comparison of these two handguns. It is just so much bigger than other handguns.
You know, this is making me think I should do a version of this. I should do a version of the stream where I just show off all my cameras and have you
Yeah.
comment on them.
Oh man, another shit ass liberal camera.
Oh fuck. This camera was used to take a picture of JFK.
All right.
No, not-
Now we're on to the biggest handgun. Oh, this is actually a little bit difficult to get up here.
My penis.
Almost. Oh my god, I actually can't. I can't zoom out enough. This cannot fit in the fucking frame. God damn it. My PLR 16.
Well, you can zoom out. It's called moving your camera up.
No, I can't. Like the camera's on the monitor and I have nothing else to attach it to.
Just hold it.
I mean, okay, fine. I don't want to have
You
to.
don't have to. I'm just saying practically that's the issue. Yeah. Gracious. That is.
It's fucking
I
backwards
do-
for me, so I can't figure it out.
I do like the see-through magazine.
Yeah, it's trans.
It's SV19 or something.
What?
You posted a picture of it in this chat, didn't you?
It's a PLR 16.
PLR 16.
Yeah.
That's
It's not loaded. Come on. Not loaded. God, I can't. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to show this one off because it's just too much stuff. But yeah, that's my handgun collection. God, I really wouldn't be able to show off a rifle here.
No.
I need
Probably have to go into the realm of maybe just put a mask on and
Why?
tilt the camera up so that you can.
All right, I'm gonna turn the
Nope.
camera off now. All right, and that I'll switch myself to big mode for the last few seconds, I guess. But like that's basically everything I wanted to do for today's stream.
Nice. I'm sorry rugby had to come in the way of me. Being
Yeah, I
here
can't
earlier,
believe
but
you
it
skipped out on half my birthday party for rugby.
It was like I had to sit. It's like a family thing. We sit around. Me and my mother and my sister joined like for the last 10 minutes, but sat around, watched the rugby, had fun. Yeah, and we beat the RGs. Get fucked. It's the Falklands, not Las Malvinas. Suck on my winky.
Anyway, so I get we
Yes.
ran a little bit over time, but that's fine. I don't have anything to wrap us up with, so I guess unless you have something, I guess that's it.
Go follow me on twitch.tv/.
You shut up.
Gaming.
Go to Patreon and give me money so I can buy a new computer. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. One of my friends got. Wait, no, did I mention? No, yeah, I did mention this earlier. One of my friends got me Starfield Premium Edition for my birthday, and I can't run it because my computer is shit. So please give me
yes.
money so I can get a new computer. Please, I have no money. I am starving here.
Give Badger money, please.
I'm a coal miner's daughter.
What?
It's a saying over here to say like I am just hopelessly impoverished.
Uh,
Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you all have a good day and have a good night. See ya.
Goodbye.